Ladies and gentlemen, welcome as we are live for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series regular season finale from New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the EJP 175. And here for today's race, a 175 lapper, 175 miles around the 1 mile flat oval, the Magic Mile at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Got a couple of Cup Series regulars in this race. Of course, this is the final race that a Cup Series regular is able to participate in a Craftsman Truck Series race because they cannot run any of the 7 chase races that we have coming up starting in a couple of weeks. But as of this one, kind of a unique regular season finale at New Hampshire. I believe this is the first year that the Craftsman Truck Series has had their final race of the regular season be right here at the Magic Mile. We haven't seen too many races in history in general for the Truck Series at New Hampshire that they didn't really go to for the longest time. And then they would have some short stints here, and they've kind of come and went in recent years. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Series usually racing here every year, not this season. So this is a Truck and Cup Series standalone weekend, and should be a fun one set for today. Battle for the regular season championship between Lane Riggs and Caden Honeycutt comes into this 18th and final race of the regular season. It is a 61-point difference between the two drivers vouching for that top spot. So not mathematically out of it is Caden Honeycutt, but a very high probability that Lane Riggs is going to win this regular season title. And as he comes into this race, he could actually clinch this in the first couple of stages. So we'll see how that's going to end up working out for Lane Riggs. We'll follow that. He would have to score 15 stage points today in the first 2 stages to clinch the regular season title going into stage 3. Very possible that he could do that considering he does start on the pole. Caden Honeycutt going to try to stay right there with him, though, of course, as Honeycutt qualified in the second place position, going to put whatever kind of pressure he can on Lane Riggs to try to get that #1 seed before the chase begins in the next race. 6 drivers are locked into the chase out of the 10 spots open. Those 6 drivers would be Lane Riggs, Caden Honeycutt, Chandler Smith, Christian Eckes, Gio Ruggiero, and after last week's race at Richmond, Ty Majeski clinched his spot in the chase. 4 drivers that are above the cut line entering this weekend would include Grant Enfinger, Ben Rhodes, Daniel Hemrick, and Tyler Ankrum, with Ankrum holding the last spot by just 20 points over Stuart Friesen. Jumped into that spot a week ago after Stuart Friesen had a last place finish in a DNF after a crash in stage 2. Jake Garcia coming into this race 21 points back, and then a little bit of a bigger climb for Brendan Queen, Andres Perez, and Taylor Gray, who mathematically have a shot entering today's race as well. For today's live commentary stream, the race itself will be on Fox Sports 1. So if you're wondering for visual purposes where to watch, again, Fox Sports 1 is where you can go there. For this 175 lap race, our scheduled distance for this evening is obviously 175 laps, but 55 laps in stages 1 and 2, and the final stage will be 65 laps. So they will not have to pit for fuel or tire purposes under green flag conditions, which could make for a pretty straightforward race. Starting lineup for this evening will look like this, with Lane Riggs on the pole, Caden Honeycutt starting in the second place position on the front row. In row number 2 will be Gio Ruggiero and one of the 2 Cup regulars in the field, Connor Zilic, driving the 71 for Spire Motorsports. Tristan McKee making his second career start, the 16-year-old coming off of a top 15 finish last week, along with Daniel Hemrick will be in that row as well. Gavin Bushell for the second consecutive week, also a Tricon Garage in the #1 truck, and Grant Enfinger looking to clock in a chase position today. Jake Garcia and Ben Rhodes for Thor Sport Racing in row number 5. Row 6 will be Connor Mosack and Chandler Smith. Stuart Friesen, Cole Butcher in row 7. Row 8, Tyler Ankrum, Ty Majeski. Row number 9, Christopher Bell and Parker Eatman. Bell, the second of the 2 regular season or Cup Series regulars in the field today. Christian Eckes, a former winner at New Hampshire, and Tanner Gray will be in row number 10. Michael Christopher Jr. and Landon Lewis, row 11. John Hunter Nemechek in the field today, along with Corey LaJoy in row number 12. Row 13 for Justin Haley and Brendan Queen, the 2 Dodge Rams. Connor Hall with Chris Wright in row 14. Row 15 will be Andres Perez and Colin Braun. Row 16, Timmy Hill, Patrick Emmerling, Minnie Tyrell with Dawson Sutton in row 17, and row 18, Spencer Boyd, Luke Baldwin, rounding out our 36 truck field for today.
And glorious and free, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, can we stand hard for oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the heavens we watched were so gallantly streaming. Gets red glare, it's staying in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Beautifully done. The national anthem. This one of the most fun tracks on the schedule. The Trucks returned here last season. For the first time in 8 years, and now back in 2026 to decide the field for the champs. We're going to dial up some drivers and hear from today's winners when we come back to New Hampshire.
All right, getting set to go green here shortly. Still about 10 to 15 minutes away from the drop of the green flag in this one. We're on the Singing Canada because it's one of the closer tracks to the Canadian border. New Hampshire Motor Speedway, they probably do that every year up there. Maybe not every year that they telecast it, but they do have it every year. Well, I go to Michigan International Speedway, and they have a pretty big Canadian presence there at the racetrack as well. Only about a half hour to 45 minutes from the Canada border in Detroit. So they usually do the Canadian national anthem for Michigan as well. Watkins Glen is another one I've been to. Watkins Glen, they've done the Canadian national anthem there. So they have a big Canadian presence at a couple of racetracks as north or close to north of the border as they go. Patrick Shadley, Wade, Terry Lewis, Lou Man, thanks for tuning into the stream. You guys are the first in the chat, so I'll shout you out. Marcus Villarreal, thanks for tuning in as well. Of course, he's predicting Christopher Bell to go for the win. Got to be fun watching your boy Christopher Bell race in the Truck Series as often as he does every week. Huge helping hand with Stuart Friesen in that race team, the Friesen Hallmar team, that is. This will be driving the 62 truck today. So we've gone through the starting lineup. We've gone through the point standings before we get things going. Weather looks clear for New Hampshire Motor Speedway today. Good to see. It's actually thunderstorming here at the moment. I mean, it is an utter downpour. So last time that happened while I was on stream, I lost power at Pocono. So hopefully that doesn't happen here today. I think the hardest of the storm actually was kind of passing through just before the stream started. And we still got power, so that's good. But right now it is pouring out there. Actually, on a side note, and somebody mentioned in the chat about, man, I need coffee for this. It's early because we had a 10:30 a.m. local time start, Eastern time start for practice and qualifying earlier this morning. I actually went to get an iced coffee. I got here and I actually dropped it, but it was in the driveway. So it is now whooshing away in the thunderstorm, in the rain. I did clean my car up the best I could because I actually dropped it down the side of the car on the outside. So Cleaned it up the best I could. It's getting a little power wash out there at the moment as well. That was all like 30 minutes before the stream started. I was upset. So might be a little bit groggy. I did take a half-hour power nap here in between the two streams. So that helped out a little bit. Trying to stay hydrated on top of it. Gone through a couple waters already today. Going through a couple more as the stream progresses. I can't wait for the Cup race tomorrow at New Hampshire. Hopefully we can get the whole race in. I know there is weather impending the possibility of getting the full 301 lap race in tomorrow. There are no lights at New Hampshire, so if they do run into a situation where they get past halfway and it rains, very likely it would become official pretty quick. Not like Atlanta where they ended up calling things. They can't wait till Monday to run the race at that point. But they could wait till Monday to finish the race if they don't get halfway. But with NASCAR moving the start time up an hour, very high probability that they can at least get half of it in, as they're not looking for impending storms tomorrow until after 4 p.m. Eastern. So that could get moved up, obviously, in about 24 hours' time, but that's kind of what we're looking at on the subject of rain. Thought I'd throw that out there. But that's for tomorrow. For today, we're going to get all 175 laps in, no problem, and hopefully we have a good show. Chase bubble right now, 65 points above the cut line is Grant Enfinger. He would only need 10 stage points to lock himself up into the chase. As for the rest of the drivers that are above the cut line but not locked in, Ben Rhodes, Daniel Hemrick, Tyler Ankrum, they will not mathematically be able to do that through the first two stages, so they're going to have decent and or good days depending on where they're at in points. And again, that cut line spot, 20 points between Friesen and Ankrum, and Garcia right there in the bubble as well, 21 points below the cut line. Here's Tyler Ankrum, who comes in 10th in points today.
We've dug deep all year long. We've made a lot of mistakes. I've made a lot of mistakes. Fortune went our way at Richmond. So we just got to have a accumulation of all that today and just do the job and finish up front. All right, well, Tyler qualified 15th, but what about the guy right on his heels, Amanda?
That's right, Josh, and is right behind this guy in the points as well is Stuart Friesen, 11th in the points. And if things went right for Tyler Ankrum in Richmond, they did not go right for Stuart Friesen, but the team is having fun with it. There are lobsters all over this truck to satisfy the New England fan base. What is your approach to clawing out of 11th in points and putting yourself in this chase?
We just got to go race like we do every week, you know. The team's been improving as a whole. We have 3 trucks here today with Whelan on the 72 with Michael and Reem on the 62 with Bell. So big day for HFR, and we'll just go race as hard as we always can. You know, keep improving, and if we make some points, that's great. But I'd be more happy if we raced inside the top 5. So proud of the Halmar team and all these guys for digging in. Yeah, last week didn't go our way, but we're all racers, and we'll keep fighting.
If we've ever had a lobster in truck camera, guys, but we certainly have one here today at Loudon.
You know why lobsters keep their secrets?
I didn't even want to hear the rest of that joke from Michael Waltrip, if I'm being completely honest. Oh, geez. Actually got a decent crowd on hand for the Craftsman Truck Series race. You get the command to fire engines here any moment. I'll let you listen into that as well. Mr. Friesen Canadian, by the way, if anybody was wondering. We did have the Canadian National Anthem play today, so maybe that's going to get him buckled up and ready to go for this afternoon.
Drivers!
Engines firing up here for these Craftsman Truck Series drivers. And again, we will be having full flag-to-flag commentary for today's race. Stage splits 55, 55, and 65 to make up the full 175 lap difference. So we've seen truck races here in the past. They've been around 200 laps, a little bit shorter of a distance today. Those have been kind of on the longer end for Truck Series races at New Hampshire, but today, 175 will be our length. Kind of a weird one by way of mileage to see the title sponsor with the number 175 after it, but we'll make for an interesting one. That takes the green flag pit stop possibility in stage 3 out of it, though, so the strategy is pretty straightforward. We'll see a little bit of tire fall off, so if there are any cautions in the middle of, say, especially that final stage, we could potentially see pit stops in that facet, but for fuel purposes, again, we won't see any. Sunny where you're at? Well, I wish it was sunny here. Supposed to go to Top Golf tonight, so luckily that's enclosed. It could rain and not gonna dampen my plans completely. It's actually a good day to go to Top Golf, in my personal opinion, is when it's raining outside and you can't get on an actual golf course today. So actually, it works out rather well. Or during the winter time when they're closed up here in Ohio. Vote for who you think is going to win today's race in our chat poll. Voting options are between Lane Riggs, Connor Zilich, Christopher Bell, or somebody other than those three. And a lot of the votes early on are taking those three participants between Zilich, Bell, and Riggs. Bell at 38% of the votes. Lane Riggs, 31% is the poll sitter. And Connor Zilich taking 23%. 7% for somebody other than those three. Now it's 36-36 between Lane Riggs and Christopher Bell for that top spot. Bam Hall, thanks for tuning into the stream also. I'm going to take Lane Riggs for the win today. Connor Zilich has never won a truck race. He may be fast and could go on to win, but I have more faith in either Riggs or Honeycutt. And although Honeycutt won on a shorter oval last week, Richmond, a lot of tire fall off there. Not as much here, and I'm actually kind of surprised at how good Caden Honeycutt was last weekend because I haven't seen him run that good on a short track all year. In fact, both Lane Riggs and Chandler Smith, between the two of them, have been the ones to be on short tracks this season. So this is kind of an intermediate, but I label it as a short track because it races like one. It's super flat, a lot of high braking in both turns 1 and turn 3 on corner entry. A little bit more speed here than what we would see on a track like Richmond last week. Trucks were off at Iowa the week before. A lot of Truck Series short tracks in this portion of the schedule, though, because we did have IRP as the race even before Richmond. And then we start the chase at Bristol in a couple weeks. So couple weeks off after this regular season finale when the Cup Series have a couple of dates coming up here, and can't wait to get these final 7 races underway. Going to be a good fight for the championship. A smaller sample size was 7 chase races versus 10 could lead to something interesting if there is early trouble for some of those top drivers in points like a Riggs or a Honeycutt. That are they going to have enough time to try to make that ground back up again versus having 10 races at both the O'Reilly and Cup Series chases with their longer schedules? Trucks on the racetrack. And again, they will be going green here shortly. A couple more pace laps away from doing so. Christopher Bell, former Truck Series winner at New Hampshire 2017. He won that year's race. He's got a truck win, 2 Cup wins. He's 4 for 4 in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series at New Hampshire. Great track for him. Didn't qualify particularly well today, but see if he can make that ground up in the race. Stuart Friesen actually out-qualifying him by a bit. Friesen rolls off 13th. And we'll keep an eye on that bubble battle the best we can. I'm going to update the points at the top of the screen after every stage, so you can kind of get a good gauge of where the points are as they're running. I'll be doing that for the regular season finale next weekend in Daytona as well for both the O'Reilly and the Cup Series. So based on how these stages are performed with those drivers on the bubble, we'll see who may be eliminated a little early on, maybe lock themselves into the chase early on, could be a possibility also. Checking pit road times. Brent Stover in the booth today. Now, personally, I actually prefer Brent Stover over Eric Brennan. I know Brennan has done some good jobs with some of the truck races he has been handed this year, and he does ARCA a lot. Stover does as well. They kind of split the ARCA schedule. And they're getting opportunities on the IndyCar race weekends where obviously Fox telecasting that. Jamie Little, who was doing play-by-play commentary for the first half of the truck season. When NASCAR was on the Fox schedule, has been, of course, pit reporting for IndyCar full-time. So that's why she's been away a lot of these weekends as of late. Opportunity to hear some new voices in the booth. And I actually prefer Stover, personally. I think Brennan, like I said, I think he does a good job, but from what I've heard out of Stover, the little bits and pieces that we listen to the actual play-by-play commentary by the broadcaster that is putting on the races every weekend, I do like him. He's got a great voice. Guess he's driving the fast food truck at New Hampshire. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know the sponsors too well in the truck series. If they're not on the trucks every week. I know Tony Breidinger had the Raising Cane's truck for a while, but she is kind of been slowly weeded out of the series. I don't know if she was set to run full-time this year at Tricon again. She had one season last year full-time with them and obviously didn't perform particularly well. Ran some races early this year and seen a couple of newcomers in their equipment. Gavin Bichelle for the second week in the one truck for Tricon Garage this week. Obviously, Corey Heim splitting some time and running some races still. He's been in that 5 truck a couple of times. That Breidinger was running full-time a season ago. So looking to get things started here. Lane Riggs electing the outside of row 1. And we are about to race as the pace car makes the big left-hand turn for pit road. Pete Honeycutt lined up to the inside of the points leader, and as they head to the start-finish line, green flag is in the air, and we are underway at New Hampshire, and a lot of smoke on the front stretch. Not sure what was going on back there. Maybe a little bit of a stack-up as the field was coming to the green, and that is going to cause a caution for the first time today. The 33 truck is actually going around.
That's a new driver this week, Luke Baldwin, switching to the 33, replacing Frankie Muniz.
Well, that's a lot of contact. You know, Regan, that's a couple guys that have raced here at New Hampshire a lot. It's really hard to see down the front straightaway. It's flat. You're sitting behind other trucks. If somebody doesn't get going like you think they're going to go, it becomes a chain reaction wreck, and that's exactly what we saw. Heck, Baldwin started last, and he was one of the guys that got turned around there. You could see some damage there on Jake's truck as well in the back of that 98.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that damage on the 98 of Jake Garcia. Keep in mind, he was one of the guys just outside of the chase cutoff line. He was 21 points back. Needed to have a good start to this race to try and score some stage points potentially. We'll have to see if they got a pit to repair this or what they're going to have to do. And he was starting further up front, Michael, so that tells me that initial checkup, it happened really quick, and it just kept working its way back all the way back through the field.
What a mess.
Garcia 12th, as you alluded to there, Regan. 21 points off the cut line. 6 guys, as we just said, have locked themselves in, but the bubble is the storyline going in, and this is right off the start of the race.
Yeah, the leaders just didn't go when those other guys felt like the line was rolling, and it just stacked up in the back.
And I'd be curious, too. I didn't notice a lot of damage on the nose of Jake Garcia's truck, but that's where it looked to have started as Jake Garcia seemed to get into the back of, when the initial checkup happened there, he got into the back of the one truck of Gavin Bichelle, and man, that was some substantial contact, and as you see for Luke Baldwin, very unfortunate. As it worked its way through the field, it just kept getting worse and worse.
Wow, that's a shame.
So he's on pit road. We take a look at our description. Is sponsored by Craftsman.
The track is a mile in length, just over a mile. You can see the corners are banked 2 to 7 degrees. I've never felt any one of those degrees racing there, Regan. It's like the other way. It's a fun little racetrack, a mile in length, a lot of speed down in these tight turns.
Fun track. You can run a lot of different grooves, Michael. And as we take a look at the race analysis, these guys are going to have a number of different opportunities to run those different grooves. It's going to be 175 laps, stage 1, 55, stage 2, 55. That final stage just a little bit longer, but I'll have to keep an eye on what happens with tire fall off throughout the course of it. And finally, our fuel strategy sponsored by Zero Carbon Bioethanol.
Well, you can see our window is somewhere between 70 and 75 laps. Some of the crew chiefs told me maybe stretch it to 77 or 8. So what you want to do, depending on when the cushions fall, you might want to flip these stages. We talked earlier about those points. That'd be important. But at the end, just make sure you fill her up, Regan.
On the fuel, you can don't leave any on the ground. Early caution lap number 1 as the 33 got spun.
Man, that's just a tough day to get that opportunity. Frankie Muniz stepped out of that truck to give Luke this ride, and then just all went bad there in a hurry. It didn't look like the radiator was punctured, and there wasn't any water running out of that truck. So I think that maybe they can repair it, get some laps in. That's the goal, getting some laps for this young man.
Yeah, and Amanda's got more on that driver change.
Yeah, funny enough, I had turned to the scanner of Luke Baldwin, and on my scanner, it still says Muniz as the driver. But yeah, I would talk to Luke Baldwin this morning. He said that he was sitting in the hauler just so upset that he wasn't going to race in his sixth race here this season. When he got word from the team that Frankie Muniz was going to step out of this 33 and let him step into this truck for this race today, Frankie Muniz put out a press release and said that he just felt like it was the right thing to do. He wanted to be able to put the team in a position to pick up as many points as he could. But in talking to Luke, he talks about his growth in the series and what he's hoping to accomplish. He's got a good budding relationship going with Lane Riggs. Spent a lot of time with him this weekend. But in listening to the scanner, even right now, guys, it sounds like they're going to get some air run on this truck and get that 33 back on track.
Good stuff, Amanda. Unfortunate there. Riggs an opportunity to wrap it up by the end of stage 1. The top spot going into the chase. Well, history is coming to the nation's capital. IndyCar races through the heart of Washington, D.C. in a once-in-a-lifetime spectacle celebrating America's 250. The Freedom 250 coverage begins tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, only on Fox.
How awesome is this? Fox, IndyCar, streets of Washington. Lee. It's going to be a lot of fun.
The images that have been coming out this week are just absolutely incredible. Favorite part so far, that trophy. Have you guys seen that trophy? 75 pounds, and it is spectacular. Pretty rough track, right? You're going to be tired by the end of driving that race. They will definitely know that they got a workout out there. And although to race around the nation's capital, I mean, just what a special event.
You talked about how cool, but how huge and probably heavy the trophy is, so it might be tough to lift the thing ever.
These guys are lining up. We're going to give this a go again. Like I said, it's just if you're in that second row, Regan, I mean the third or fourth row, you just can't see what the leader's doing, and so it just makes it very difficult to anticipate. Got to be conservative here early in the going, especially if you're back deep in the back.
I got to imagine everybody be a little bit smarter here.
Here we go. As the drivers approach the Echo Park Automotive restart.
Few laps of caution. Lap 6 will be the restart. We'll see if we can get a green flag lap in this time. Lane Riggs going to elect the outside of row 1. And green flag is back in the air. Much better launch for Riggs, who did have the lead at the time of caution, but Honeycutt will not stay alongside of him into the first turn. A quick jump to the bottom from the outside of row 2 will be Connor Zilich in the 71, taking over the second spot. Big dive off into the corner, and actually 3 and nearly 4 wide middle of the pack as they exit turn 2. Back around where the 88 of Ty Majeski was at. Tyler Ranker, one of the bubble drivers in that mix as well. Riggs pulling away at the end of this opening lap. Honeycutt back to the inside for second on Connor Zilich. He'll side draft him down the front stretch, hanging on that left rear corner panel. Pull off and continue the door-to-door battle into turns 1 and 2. And Zilich will be clear off turn 2 again. Not by as much as he was on the opening lap, but he is still clear. Connor Zilich, 20th in both practice and qualifying earlier for the Cup Series today. Trying to put together a good run. Has done a great job staying out of trouble and not DNF in the last couple weeks after having 8 of them in the first portion of the season before that off week a couple weeks ago. Had some better runs. One of his better runs on an oval that we have seen at Richmond just a couple weeks prior. 10 points to clinch a chase spot for Grant Enfinger. In these first two stages, we'll see if he can do it. He qualified in the 8th place position. He is battling with Bochelle for 7th at the moment. And a good run off the exit of turn 4 versus Bochelle. He'll complete the pass. Gavin will let him in front. Find his way in line right behind him before entering turn 1. Way up the racetrack, the 13 of Cole Butcher. Got out of the seam on the outside of the racetrack. Once the right side tires are up out of that blacker asphalt on the bottom, slipped even more wide. He was in the marbles, couldn't get out of it, lost 2 to 3 positions in a corner. The battle was going on around Tyler Ankrum, which I'm sure the broadcast's already seen here early on, going to be heavily focused on the battles of where Stuart Friesen, Jake Garcia, Tyler Ankrum are going to be at in the running order. Christopher Bell up 5 positions from the start of the race already to 12th. And Friesen 1 position out of the ability to try to get some stage points and cut into that ground. He said the goal was to run top 5 all day today. And if he does that, he's going to have a good shot of trying to get in over Tyler Ankrum. Right now, the running order, Ankrum is in 17th, and he's actually lost a spot from the start of the race. Stuart Friesen up a few positions. Christopher Bell making a pass on Friesen, looking to press forward now into 11th. Teammates for today trading positions. So we had an opening lap caution, 4 laps of yellow under that caution. Quick cleanup after the 33 of Luke Baldwin went around at the back of the pack. A stack up on the inside of the racetrack. Coming to the green initially, and Baldwin into the back of the truck in front of him, and around he went. Fortunately, he is still in the pit area, 10 laps down on track at the moment. Seen a lot of aggressive dive bombs at the bottom of the track. Trucks trying to make some passes in the early laps of this race. John Hunter Nemechek is going to be one of those drivers trying to make a move, and he's going to turn the 45. In doing so, Landon Lewis up against the outside wall. Caution's out for the second time. That was a very aggressive move by the Cup regular Nemechek.
And we've seen these trucks racing around each other for the better part of 3, 4, 5 laps now, and just, man, some extremely aggressive racing this early on.
That's a shame right there.
Lewis, talented young driver, 20 years of age, from Ocean Isle Beach, North Carolina, for Nice. And unfortunately, it brings out our second caution as they're going to check on the driver of that 45 truck. You're on lap number 14 of this 55-lap stage 1.
Let's not get it to Crankregan because it's not hurt where he couldn't drive off.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. We are at New Hampshire under our second early caution in this regular season finale on FX.
3 trucks that were in the picture of that battle. Nemechek was trying to dive in late on corner entry. I was talking about dive bombs that were being made on both ends of the track early in the race. And there was one gone wrong off the front bumper of the 5. Nemechek spins the 45 around. Very unfortunate for Landon Lewis. Lewis has only made 7 starts so far this season in a part-time effort for Nice Motorsports. He's had a couple of decent runs along the way. Today it looks like it's going to be a potential early exit. Definitely going to drop Lewis off the lead lap. Safety officials working with him, and we'll see if the truck's going to be able to drive away from the incident or not. Nemechek at 17, so that battle would have been right around there. On track, Nemechek started very deep in the field today. Not a good qualifying effort earlier. Is up 6 positions, started 23rd to get to 17th where that contact was made with Lewis. Yeah, next truck race is going to be a Thursday night. The only Thursday night race of the season, and that is the week of the Bristol night race. So a few off weeks in a row consecutively for the trucks. As we look ahead to their chase schedule, in fact, might as well look at it. All under caution again. So 7 races in the Craftsman Truck Series chase. The first one will be at Bristol Motor Speedway, followed by a trip to Kansas. Charlotte Motor Speedway will be on a Friday early afternoon, or I should say late afternoon Friday. Friday night at Phoenix Raceway. Talladega on a Friday afternoon again. Martinsville Speedway, the penultimate race of the season, and then Homestead Miami Speedway for the finale. And it was actually announced already, too, that Homestead will be the season finale for 2027 as well. So we'll be going to Homestead a couple years in a row. Mostly Friday night or Friday afternoon races the rest of the season. One more Saturday show, which will be in 2 races, a Saturday afternoon at Kansas. And then the Thursday night at Bristol, but the final 5 races of the season all back on Fridays. I'm surprised the Charlotte race is as early as it is. The only thing I can think of is because that race is on Big Fox, there might be some playoff baseball that might be going on after that. Because that is not on Fox Sports 1 like some of the rest of them.
It's early on. The last one brought out by contact between the 5 and the 45. That's Landon Lewis back out on track.
You can see the big block to the inside for Lewis, and John Hunter just said, "I'm here," and didn't let him off the hook there. Far early to be racing that hard, I think.
Yeah, and I don't even know that it was necessarily a block. I think he was trying to, in Landon's mind, I'm going to keep him behind me right here. And that move was really late into the corner. And you see, when you get down this low at New Hampshire, it flattens out down there, as we've talked about already, Mikey, and it gets dirty down there, too. I know it's the start of the race, but there's still dirt and dust down there that's not been cleared off, and you just lose that grip and wash up into the guy to your outside. Out the back of the 18 truck here. Landon tried to hang on to that truck for as long as he could, and once you get into that long of a slide, it's only a matter of time till it's finally going to swap ends on you, and you kind of have two options there. Do I try to save it, or do I let it spin and stand on the gas and hope it stays off the wall? And unfortunately, as late as that was into the corner, just not enough time to keep it off the wall.
Beckus came to pit road, Regan, under this caution. There you see. Amanda, what they say down there, awful early to come to the pits.
Yeah, they went ahead and took more tires as well to just get ready to maybe put him back in a track position later when we get through these stages. But man, he was on the splitter hard in qualifying, and they've just been kind of to dig back out from that, which is a shame because they look so great in practice, according to Christian Eckes. And talking to the crew chief David Ellens prior to the race, they made some significant adjustments over, but not enough clearly.
3 top 5s in his last 4 races, including a 3rd place in Richmond last week. Christian Eckes.
Slow start to the race with 2 cautions in the first 18 laps. Green flag will be back in the air. Riggs again on the outside of road number 1. Now Connor Zilich underneath of him in that 71 truck. We'll see if Honeycutt can get by now that he's to the outside of Zilich. Pretty good restart, though, for Connor. He's actually somewhat hanging in there with our race leader, Lane Riggs. In line right behind him. A quick side draft down the back straightaway and a duck to the bottom by Caden Honeycutt in the 11. Flatlining corner entry, trying to wrap the inside. Slides up, center off. Keeps it off the truck to his outside. And still door to door right now for second. Daniel Hemrick taking over 4th from Gio Ruggiero. Good restart for the 19. Hemrick, another one of those drivers that is above the chase cut line, trying to lock in a spot in this regular season finale today. Fastest lap of the race early on, set by Riggs on lap 9. Lap time of a 30.304, so he does have the fastest lap bonus point award. Honeycutt having a hard time trying to hang on with the front runners here. Beginning of the pack. And Daniel Hemrick looking to take away third from Honeycutt, who might be struggling just a bit here early. Oh, man, that was an aggressive move by Honeycutt. I wasn't sure that he was cleared off turn 2 when he moved up across the front bumper of Hemrick. But he barely was, trying to take away any momentum he would have had on the outside of the racetrack. A lot easier to complete a pass if he can get somebody's right rear versus trying to make a pass around the bottom on this flat oval. Just a little bit more grip, center off in the seam in that outside portion of the racetrack. Christopher Bell still trying to climb forward, battles with Jake Garcia in the 98 truck. That is right for the 10th spot. Garcia needs these stage points. Every one of them matter. So falling back perhaps right now, not going to look good. The 3 drivers closest to that cut line between 10th, 11th, and 12th in points, if Garcia gets past, would all be outside the top 10 about halfway through stage 1. Bell all over the left rear corner panel for Garcia. Jake not giving him a lot of room. Bell back to the inside again on the back straightaway into turn 3. Sure, Garcia knows that he's in a battle for that spot. Bell slips up the racetrack just a bit, but still gets a good drive center off. Kind of diamond cut the corner and actually completes the pass on Garcia off turn 4. Well, now he's in the rearview mirror. I don't think the damage itself is hurting Garcia at all. He was one of the trucks that was caught in that stack up on the opening lap caution, maybe towards the start of it where he got ran into from behind. It didn't really flare the fender out much, that it looks like it's not really going to cause much difference in handling. Ty Majeski now trying to get by Stuart Friesen, a struggle earlier today and qualifying for Majeski, a track style that suits him pretty well. And John Hunter Nemechek, who was just involved in that last incident, trying to make a pass over aggressively, looked like he was nearly going to slide in the middle 3 wide between the 88 and 52, and that lane closed up fast. Jeski not able to wrap the bottom very well. Got the left side tires on the painted inside line, a little bit of a wiggle. Majeski clears on the high side for 14th. And now going after Friesen for 13th. So Stuart Friesen picked up a couple spots on the initial laps of this race. This short green flag run so far, he's gone backwards a couple positions, giving positions back up again. Lead right now for our race leader, Lane Riggs, is 0.4 of a second over Connor Zilic in second, 2.2 seconds to Caden Honeycutt in third, 2.9 seconds to Daniel Hemrick in fourth, and Gio Ruggiero runs out the top 5 at fifth at 3.6 seconds out of the lead. Chandler Smith, 3.7 seconds back at sixth. Trisha McKee, the 16-year-old, 4.5 seconds back at seventh. 5.1 back for Grant Enfinger at 8th. Gavin Bushell in 9th is 5.8 back. Christopher Bell, 5.8 back, battling Bushell for 9th in 10th place. So that's the top 10 here. And again, we are about halfway through stage 1. Cup regulars moving through the field with the likes of Christopher Bell, John Hunter Nemechek, and Connor Zilic now posting the fastest lap of the race on lap 21. And that last lap was about 0.2 faster than our leader Riggs as well. So Connor Zilic looking pretty good. He's never won in the truck series. Has only had a handful of starts here, mostly on road courses. He has won a race in the top 3 series this season. He actually won the O'Reilly race at Bristol in the spring. And obviously won double-digit races in that series last season and runner-up in the championship point standings. Hemrick has been working on Caden Honeycutt really since the restart. He's now to the inside for 30, trying to make a pass up high. Got cut off after about a lap of running nearly side by side. Both these two losing ground on the top 2 ahead of them. Hemrick doesn't want to lose any more ground if he can help it. Hemrick, a pretty solid short track racer. Both of his career truck wins at Martinsville, sweeping Martinsville last season. Bigger flat oval. One that may work out well for Hemrick. And there's still a battle for seeding going on. Even those drivers that are not locked into the chase yet, you don't want to just kind of limp your way in and lock in, because if you can pick up another spot or 2 in points today, that sets you up that much better for when the chase begins next week. Based on just the pure raw speed, it seems like week in and week out, it's going to be very difficult to beat the likes of Lane Riggs, Giro, and Chandler Smith. I'd throw in there this season as well, but you just never know what could happen. We've seen drama in playoff formats of yesteryear. Who knows what the chase is going to bring that first race when we go to Bristol. I don't think the chaoticness is going to dumb down any, especially in that first week or two. Everybody back in it again, at least of the top 10. Jojo, thanks for tuning in here on this early Saturday afternoon. Voting poll closes at the end of stage 2 for who you think is going to win today's race. We've got 26 early votes. Lane Riggs is the favorite for the win with Christopher Bell. They're both at 35%. And then the other two voting options, Connor Zilic and other, at 15% of those early 26 votes. And stage 2 ends at lap 110 today. So again, 55 in the first two stages. I was going to edit that's what I was going to do. I changed one of the hashtags in the stream. I didn't catch that before the start of the stream. Zilch getting even closer to the leader, Riggs. Hovering on him. Getting there is one thing. Passing him is going to be another. Riggs more defensive with his line, kind of wrapping the inside of the racetrack all the way around as the 71 gets a bit closer to his rearview mirror. Spire Motorsports has won several races this season. Connor Zilic, obviously trying to be the third different driver to win for that organization this year. Kyle Busch has 2 wins. Carson Hocevar had a win at Kansas. And to the inside goes Zilic into turn 1. Wraps the inside well. Carries good speed on corner exit. Just off of that left rear corner panel and will ride in line in the draft behind Lane Riggs. Back straight away into turn 3. Not only Zilic is able to get to the bottom so much faster carrying the corner entry speed, but he carries so much speed through the middle of the corner on top of it, just all around better than Lane Riggs at this point in the run. And you wonder if maybe Riggs had burned his stuff up a little earlier. Zilic now trying to slide up and take Riggs' line away, and they nearly make contact in turns 1 and 2. Riggs is forced to lift to keep it in that lower, blacker asphalt at the bottom to keep from riding up into the marbles. So Zilic is clear, and Lane Riggs trying to get him back, but I just don't think he has the speed at this point in the run to do so. So with 19 laps to go in stage 1, we do have a new leader. First change of the lead today. The pole sitter no longer out in front, and it's Connor Zilic, who started 4th, is now leading. Just turned 20 years old a couple weeks ago as Zilic. A belated birthday present perhaps he's looking for today, and a decent start to the weekend again with the Cup stuff earlier. Big weekend for Trackhouse, trying to get Shane Van Gisbergen in the chase here in these last couple races. Maybe an outside shot for Ross Chastain still as well. Already Zilic a half a second now ahead of Lane Riggs in P2. Daniel Hemrick 4.6 seconds back in 3rd. Chandler Smith is up to 4th at 6.7 seconds out of the lead. Giro 8.6 seconds back, rounding out the top 5 at 5th. Caden Honeycutt is going in the wrong direction right now. That 11 truck is back to 11th place. I'm not sure what has happened, but nothing good. The only good news is for Honeycutt, with being 2nd in points, I think he's locked into 2nd. I don't think he can fall back any more than that if he were to have a poor performance today. Had an outside shot at the regular season championship still, but yeah, he's 89 points ahead of Chandler Smith. He can only score 76 in a full race. If you win all 3 stages, have the fastest lap bonus point award. So he cannot get caught by Chandler Smith or anybody else further behind him in points. And with having the early struggles he's having right now, there's a very good probability it is going to be Lane Riggs locking up this regular season championship in stage 1, even with him losing the lead to Connor Zilic. Still 4 seconds ahead of Daniel Hemrick in 3rd. Luke Baldwin back on track after the opening lap incident, but he is 10 laps down. And 12 laps down right now at the moment is Landon Lewis. He's also back out on the racetrack after his crash with contact from the 5 of Nemechek. It's the only 2 trucks off the lead lap of the 34. that remain in this race. They are all in the lead lap of 36 starters. Christian Eckes restarted 33rd. He is up to 10th. Up 10 spots, to 23rd. He's the biggest mover since the restart. Honeycutt now down 11 positions from the restart. 14th place. Every time we look at Caden Honeycutt in the running order, he's losing a spot or two. Tell you what, if there's one driver that can't wait to get to the end of the stage, it's got to be the 11 team, and you wonder if they're down on power at this point. Now 17th. And still free falling. He just looks so much slower, even down the straightaways, compared to anybody else. Corey High behind the wheel at 11. Last year, they had some races where they were just down on power, costing him a win at Homestead, perhaps, and Kyle Larson was able to come back and win that one. You wonder if they're having similar issues here today with a different driver. Wow, big wiggle by Nemechek. The outside lane, Justin Haley in the 16 underneath for Ram. Haley mathematically not going to be able to make the chase at the end of this race here today, but looking to put forth a good run with this growing program. A new team in the Truck Series for Dodge with a what is old is new again manufacturer, with Ram coming back. Colleague Racing first year in the trucks. It's not just having a new organization in the Truck Series as much as it is a new organization with a new manufacturer. Both having to work through kinks, and two news at once, definitely making for a rocky climb for those guys. They would have hoped to have got one of their 5 trucks in the chase this year. It just doesn't look like it's going to be the case. Brendan Queen still has an opportunity today, but right now running outside the top 10 as well, and he needs quite a few points to try to make up ground. 11 laps to go in stage 1 this time by. Riggs now 2.5 out of the lead.
Race. Thanks. Beautiful racer. I mean, it's just much fun to watch these trucks maneuver around this little mile. I talked in the opening about how enthusiastic the fans are, how fun it is to come to New Hampshire this time of year and go NASCAR racing. The mod squad's going to go racing later today, and those fans are passionate about that as well.
Biggest sporting event of the year in this state, about 80 miles outside of Boston, Massachusetts. And Connor Zillage, that lead is now at a 2.5 seconds. 10 to go here in stage number 1. Ruggiero runs 5th, just ahead of the youngster Tristan McKee, just 16 years of age, a top 10 in his Truck Series debut at Richmond last week.
And continues to impress. Tristan's ability to learn a racetrack, to learn these trucks, how they operate, where you need to be on, each track with them. And he's been doing that at a high level. And not only the trucks, everything he's raced, he's done that at a high level. Continuing that again today. I mean, here we are, almost at the end of stage 1, and Tristan McKee running in 6th place. Michael just continues to impress with his ability.
And you can see he's got a little bit faster truck than Ruggiero right now. But Christopher Bell says, guys, you're going to have some money here.
It might not be a bad idea for Tristan McKee if Christopher Bell does get in front of him. Hey, follow you for just a minute. Let me see what you're doing here, because Christopher Bell has gone a long ways in a short period of time so far in this race.
Yeah, we talked earlier. Oh, that's tight. We talked earlier about how making it so difficult. Christopher Bell's making it not look so difficult.
Oh, starting deep in the field, and he has made up a lot of ground. Christopher Bell up into 7th, working against McKee in the 77, door to door with 7 to go in stage 1.
Man, I love watching these guys race. It's so cool knowing how difficult it is to keep that bottom truck off the side of the truck on his outside, and just perfect pass right there for Christopher Bell.
That's a great crossover by McKee.
Good work on the 17 of Ruggiero. Started 17, so for Bell here in stage 1. But McKee battles back here on the bottom.
I think Bell will make the pass as he does. Wow, look, tight he squeezed right in behind Christopher Bell. I didn't know there was room for that.
And this is good stuff for both of these guys, right?
It is.
Cup Series veteran going up against a 16-year-old, another new up-and-comer that we may see in the higher ranks of NASCAR in coming years. Of course, just a part-time schedule for McKee at 16 years of age. Got to be 18 to run all the track types in NASCAR, but short ovals, road courses, you can run at the age of 16 and 17. We actually saw Cole Custer win a truck race at New Hampshire at the age of 16 before, so it's been done. Maybe McKee gets it done today, though he is brand new 16 years old. He was 16 years and 12 days old when he debuted in the Truck Series at Richmond last Friday, so just 8 days later. Now he's 16 years and 20 days old, so very, very, very young. Meanwhile, we got another young gun, at least in the Cup Series. Connor Zilic still leading. They're trading lap times back and forth with Lane Rigson's getting out to about a 1.5 lead. Chandler Smith kind of in a league of his own there in fourth, is closing in on Daniel Hemrick quietly for third on track. A little bit of lap traffic up in front of Hemrick. Hopefully he can get through there good enough. Keep Smith behind him. Hold on to the 8 stage points. 1 point per position inside the top 10 to the closing laps of the stage. Just 2 to go this time for Connor Zilic, who leads. Lapping another truck through turns 3 and 4. I did just see a Raising Cane's truck out there. I think that was the truck that Connor Zilic passed. So yes, there is a fast food truck of the day out there. Kane Honeycutt back in 30th, a lap down and no longer in the free pass position as well. Brennan Queen scored the first truck a lap down in 28th. Dawson Sutton, Minnie Tyrell at the tail end of the lead lap still. Not a good week for Queen. He still had an outside shot mathematically to make the chase today. Through 3 and 4 for the final time for Stage 1, Connor Zilic. Stage 1 winner at New Hampshire by about 1.8 seconds over Lane Riggs in second. Daniel Hemrick third, Chandler Smith fourth, Christopher Bell up to fifth after starting 17th. Definitely looks like the class of the field early on. Gio Ruggiero in sixth, Tristan McKee in seventh, Grant Enfinger eighth, Jake Garcia ninth, Gavin Bichelle gets the final stage point in 10th. And as for the bubble drivers for the chase, 11th in points, Stuart Friesen is 14th. Tyler Ankrum 16th, who came in 10th in points. 12th in points. Also outside of the top 10 of Jake Garcia. Garcia gets 2 points in 9th. Snuck in there. He lost that spot to Bell, but he gained a couple more positions right before the end. So I'll update the point standings at the top of the screen. And I'm just going to get rid of, Justin Haley now is mathematically out. So Justin Haley has been mathematically eliminated from chase contention. And then Garcia is now minus 19. And Friesen's still down by 20. Queen's minus 47. You get 55 for a win, so he's mathematically not out of it yet. And Tanner Gray, Andres Perez still mathematically in it still as well, but obviously not looking as likely for them to try and make it. No, I saw Gray outside of the top 10. I want Perez was also outside of the top 10. So, yeah, a lot of the Chase bubble drivers, no stage points. The only driver was Jake Garcia, who was outside of the Chase cut line and still having a shot mathematically, who gets points. So he gets 2. And now I got to update the drivers above the cut line here. Ankrum didn't get any stage points. Daniel Hemrick got 8 for finishing 3rd. So he's 43 points above the cut now. Ben Rhodes didn't have any because he was 13th. Grant Enfinger was 8th, so he gets 3 points. And there we go. So points up at the top of the screen are now updated. And mathematically, by the way, with no stage points for Ankrum and not enough for Garcia here today, Grant Enfinger has just locked up a chase spot through stage 1. So he needed 10 points mathematically to do it. That was if Garcia were to win the first stage. Grant Enfinger has just clinched a chase spot. So 3 positions left open as the race continues. Pit road will be open for the first time of the race this time by.
Connor Zillage, winner of stage 1, leading them down. We go down to Amanda Busick.
And when I talked to Lane Riggs earlier yesterday about what was left to do in the regular season with 5 wins already, he said, I just want that #1 seed to have momentum into the chase. He's still a couple baby points away from it, but he's feeling really tight in dirty air. There will be some air pressure and wedge adjustment for who was the pole sitter. Josh?
For Connor Zillage in that 71, he said he might be a hair free, but said I wouldn't do any adjustments here until we need him later on. The 19 of Daniel Hemrick, there was a communication issue, which Jed said, and he also said I could use to be a touch freer, an air pressure adjustment in addition to 4 tires of fuel for the 19th.
Thank you, guys. The race off pit road. Jake Garcia squarely on the bubble to start today. +8. He comes out as the leader. And of Riggs, Smith, Zillage. You're watching the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, New Hampshire on FS1.
I believe Brendan Queen got the free pass at 28 for being the first truck a lap down at the end of the last stage. Connor Zillage, again, the stage 1 winner here today at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Yep, we'll have 28 trucks back on the lead lap again. Waiting for the leaderboard to update. Jake Garcia wins the race off of pit road with a 2-tire stop. He's trying to do all he can to try to make up enough points. I understand the aggressiveness on the strategy, and I don't mind it. Considering where he's at versus the likes of Friesen, who he's already passed now in points by 1, and then Tyler Ankrum, who's been outside the top 10 today as well. So Garcia will be the leader in the restart. Lane Riggs 2nd, Chandler Smith 3rd, Connor Zillage 4th, Giro Ruggiero 5th, and Christopher Bell in 6th. 60 laps complete out of 175. Our 3rd caution of the day at lap 55 for a stage 1 break. We'll take our first break of the stream. You're listening live on KRC. So our coverage continues. I picked Lane Riggs for the win today. Yeah, Riggs was my pick. Bell's starting as deep in the field as he was. I didn't trust the equipment. It wasn't the driver I didn't trust, because this is his racetrack. But yeah, I took Riggs for the win. Riggs is a good short track driver. He's won at Milwaukee, very similar racetrack, flat 1 mile oval to that of New Hampshire. Maybe a little bit more tire fall off at a Milwaukee mile when they raced there a couple years ago, but Wayne Martin taking Bell all the way. In the chat right now, majority of the votes are going to Lane Riggs. But Bell's right there at 31% just behind, and you have until the end of stage 2 to vote. So it's a very close poll. Riggs has had track position as the race has gone on. I think Bell's the favorite right now. I know my pre-race pick was Lane Riggs, but just from what we've seen in these first 62 laps, I would say Christopher Bell is the favorite, rocketing his way from 17th to 5th. So restart in 6th, and we'll see how many more he can get in these first couple of laps. Can he get to the lead before the end of stage 2? Depending on how Garcia on the older left side tires does up there, he's got a good chance to jump a few extra positions otherwise. Regan Smith going to be driving the number 25 Dodge Ram at both Bristol and Charlotte. Coming up, he's in the booth right now on Fox, but for those Fox drivers getting the opportunity to race in the Craftsman Truck Series. They've had a lot of not only an all-star cast of drivers, but anybody who has been remotely related with Fox Broadcasting has had opportunities at the Truck Series this year. Jamie McMurray, Clint Boyer, and now Regan Smith, so maybe not a surprise on that. I see their criteria. They probably want to get Kevin Harvick in there at some point, I'm sure, too. Just hasn't happened yet. Lights are out on the pace car. They'll be going green this time, and we'll get stage 2 underway. Riggs not the control car, so we'll see how this works. He did have one restart in the inside of row 1 because he elected the bottom on the initial start of the race. Green flag waves, hustling down into turns 1 and 2. Riggs going to slide well up the racetrack, nearly making contact with Garcia. They might be leaning on each other just a bit. 4 wide now off turn 1 for the lead, in contact with the bottom trucks as well. They were trying to sneak their way in there. That was Connor Zilic and I believe Chandler Smith in the 38. Smith got sideways, barely able to hold on. And coming out of turn 4 at the race lead, it's still going to be Jake Garcia at the front of the field as Riggs was unable to make the pass. And Garcia's going to do the best he can to hold on to as many positions as possible, but that's going to be asking a lot of laps out of those left side tires. All in an effort that even if he doesn't win the stage, but if he finishes better than 9th where he was at the end of stage 1, I'd say this is a good strategy call and a good effort behind the wheel of the 98 on this strategy as well. Zilch got the worst end of that 4 wide deal. He's now back to 5th after finishing 2nd in stage 1. Bell didn't really get any spots out of that, kind of held up behind everybody. He's still in 6th. Again, with the points scored at the end of the last stage, Garcia gets 2 points on the cut line, trimming his deficit from 21 points down to 19 over Friesen, who doesn't get any points. Grant Enfinger scores enough stage points in stage 1 to lock himself into the chase. So Enfinger is now locked into the chase, and you can see that on the graphic on Fox Sports 1 as well. And also with a lock, Lane Riggs scoring 9 stage points to Honeycutt 0 in stage 1. Lane Riggs has won the regular season championship for the Craftsman Truck Series, so he will start as the number 1 seed and have a 25-point cushion over 2nd place into the final 7 races of the season. Zilch getting one of those spots back on the restart as he works with Giro Ruggiero at the moment, and Lane Riggs in danger of losing a spot to his teammate Chandler Smith for 2nd as Smith gets to the inside, and Chandler looked pretty strong towards the end of stage 2, wraps the bottom of the 1st and 2nd corner around the racetrack and barely clears Riggs for 2nd. So Smith now the highest running of the Front Row Motorsport Fords, and we'll see if he's got anything for Garcia as Riggs was losing ground on the front runner. 42 laps to go yet in the second stage, so decent ways to go here to get to the next green, white, checkered flag. Definitely time had to try to make positions back up for those that have lost some on both pit road and the restart. Tough break for the 16-year-old Tristan McKee, who was 6th at the end of the first stage. He lost a lot of time in the pits. He's now in 22nd. Had to restart 25th. Of course, just having to get used to pit stops in general, of course, different with NASCAR than what you would have for most other oval-based motorsports. If he does have any prior experience, go to local short track shows. You don't have live pit stops like you do in NASCAR. It's an art of its own, just knowing what you need to do behind the wheel to maximize pit road speed, maximize time into the box, out of the box. Not to mention when we get to green flag pit stops, that's a whole different animal as well, getting down to pit road speed from a high rated one on track before getting to the commitment line. Well, part of the learning curve just as much as it is learning the vehicles to race at full speed on track. So Ruggiero lost that spot to Connor Zilic, also loses 5th to Christopher Bell, who's back in the top 5 again. So 2 of the 3 Cup regulars who started this race are up inside the top 5. John Hunter Nemechek is back in 17th. He lost more spots in the pits, and he's got 5 of them back. He looks strong enough that I think he can get a top 10 by the end of the day. He gained quite a few spots in that first stage, just not as quickly as the other Toyota Bell for a different team on track right now. And Smith is closing in on our leader, Jake Garcia. Garcia's getting a decent gap, though, between himself and then 3rd, 4th place on back. If he doesn't lose too much time in a battle with Chandler Smith here. Obviously, clean air is king, so he might not handle quite as good. Those first couple laps, he may be running behind the 38, but maybe he holds on to 2nd or 3rd by the end of the stage. That's a lot of points he can make up. Stuart Friesen's in 15th at the moment. And Tyler Ankrum is no lock either. He is in 18th place right now. So Ankrum again was 21 points ahead of Garcia. And Jake Garcia, strategy call or not, has been outrunning him all afternoon. I mean, that's the idea here. If you can get to within like 11, 12 points and have to beat him by 11 or 12 positions, it can be done. With Ankrum being back in 18th place, that would mean that Garcia could get away with a 6th place finish and get into the chase if he's able to get the top 3 stage points. And obviously, Ankrum doesn't pick up many more spots the rest of the way. Connor Zilic looking for 3rd as after one Front Row Motorsport Ford takes the lead, the other trying to hold on. These two had a pretty tight battle for the lead back in stage 1. Zilic won the opening stage, getting by Riggs about midway through that last green flag run. Couple of slide jobs at the bottom of the track, washing up, trying to force Riggs into a lift or a mistake of some kind. Riggs ended up out of the groove just a little bit there, and that's twice now that Zilic had tried to do that, 2 corners in a row. Also, that's how he passed Riggs for the lead earlier. Very aggressive moves to be pulled off, and that time it was a pass for 3rd. Connor Mosack, newcomer into the top 10 in the 7 truck for Spire Motorsports. The Spire all the way around having a good day today. And just picked up another position on Grand Enfinger for 9th as well. So all 3 of their Chevys are inside the top 10. Were, I guess. Tristan McKee obviously lost all that ground on pit road. So he's working to try to get that back. He's up to 20th. 5 positions gained for McKee. Commercial break on Fox Sports 1 side-by-side at the moment, so we will be taking a quick break of our own. Again, you're listening live on KRC to our full flag-to-flag coverage of today's EJP 175. A lot of damage for the 76 truck of Spencer Boyd, who is now on pit road. I mean, that is a ton of damage to both the back and left rear of his truck. It almost looks like he might have backed it against the wall, which is likely the case because we are under caution for the 4th time today. Right, so on pit road is Spencer Boyd, 3rd incident of the race, 4th caution entirely in these first just under an hour of elapsed time. Getting closer to halfway. Be there in about 10 laps or less. Gonna have to wait to see a replay when they come back from commercial of exactly what happened there. I'm not sure where Boyd was at on track. He might have been a lap down already. Hayden Honeycutt going to get the free pass in 29th to get back on the lead lap with the yellow. Damage all around the left side of the 76. Hit the wall pretty hard in turns 3 and 4. Saw a far away camera shot. I would assume there was contact from underneath. Car maybe trying to make a pass, and it had been very similar to the incident that we saw in turns 1 and 2 earlier with John Hunter Nemechek and Landon Lewis. A lot of these teams probably going to save that extra set of tires, I would assume, for stage 3. Seeing Jake Garcia hold on well on the right side tires, this caution probably hurts him a bit. Ankrum coming in to take that fresh set of tires.
Yeah, and an issue for the 18 as Tyler came over the radio reporting an issue with the rear brake. So they're going to take a look at the right rear brake, change the tires on that side, see if they need to change the left rear brakes as well. But he said, I have a very little amount of brakes. It feels like it might be a slow bleed, that is. So they're going to check it out. They said they may have to take a penalty if that's what they need, but they need to fix the problem right now, guys.
He began the day with a final spot in 10th for the chase. Right now, he would be out. Still a lap to be settled, but they're going to fix it now.
Yeah, and there you saw the crew member that kind of poked his head underneath that right rear real well and then got underneath the truck as well. He's checking both brake calipers, and on the right side, he said it looked good, so we'll have to see. I see them reaching for any tools to do anything. And, I guess that's a good news, bad news situation for Tyler Ankrum, right? The good news is it doesn't look like they see anything. The bad news is that they don't see anything, and if your brakes are going or you're having issues, then how are you going to be able to fix this so you can manage it? Right now, he has fallen below the cutoff line in terms of the chase, and we talked about Jake Garcia having that great run that he's having and taking those 2 tires and doing what he needed to do. That's only going to add more pressure to these guys.
Well, both of you guys have some good and interesting history at this track. Talked about your 5 top 10s, your second place finish, Michael, back in 2008. Let's go back to 2003. You and Robbie Gordon, 2005 here in New Hampshire. You and Robbie got into it.
I don't really know what happened there, but it made Robbie very upset. I think we were just arguing over space, and watch me duck. And I'm pretty sure I'm safe. It still scared me.
Hit the gas and duck, I think, which after. And then in 2013, Regan, what about you?
Yeah, I've talked all day long about how you can get too low on the racetrack and wash up to into the car on the outside of you, and you see there that I got pretty low on the racetrack, washed up into Elliott Sadler, and Elliott was not bad. Of course, Elliott was in the 25 truck 1 week ago. We got to see him back on the racetrack. I was glad to see him smiling last week because he wasn't smiling right here, and
Well, I like how you're keeping moving, Regan. That's smart, man.
I was moving, and luckily I had a large individual next to me that was security, if you will. And Elliot was mad. Elliot's a big guy, and he was really mad. I was trying to figure out how I was going to avoid the punches if they started coming.
So you were going to try to keep the punches tight, like getting in time.
And I was as close as I could. They can't hurt as much as being in there close. And $100,000 on the line for Elliot in that race too. He was frustrated with me.
Finished 8th in that race. So I know you didn't love this track, but you had a good day that
I
day.
think that made him matter that I still got a good result.
I wanted to ask you, you didn't feel like you did anything wrong on that replay.
Not for the track's fault.
I think so.
The way it's designed.
I got that. The other angle shows that I got pushed all the way down to the bottom.
Now this is a big moment here for Jake Garcia. We talked about him making the two tires work. Now he's stuck down on the bottom. He's going to have a lot of company on that outside. Can he get single file before he loses too many spots? It's going to be a tough job for him to do. Watch this 98 down on the bottom and see if this strategy works.
This car pulls off. Chandler Smith in the 38, Jake Garcia in the 98, back under green. We're at New Hampshire.
Jake Garcia, just like we've seen that inside line all day long, spinning the tires. That's not abnormal. We're going to continue to see that, but he was able to get a nice push from Lane Briggs, and
Look at Rillage.
Oh,
It's almost all the way to the outside of our leader. Now he's going to the bottom. 71 truck is stout.
got it.
that's the worst case
Wow.
scenario for the field, right? Let the 71 encounter zones. We saw how good he was. Chandler Smith's not going to, but don't let him get out front. Don't let him get that clean air if you can avoid it.
Give a nod of the hat to Garcia with that 98. He did his job. He got single file, but look on the bottom. He's got company. Look on the front too, by the way.
The second row, and it's Lane Riggs. That one was Christopher Bell. Only inside the top 5, and for the lead, the 71 of Zilich on the outside of the 38 of Chandler Smith.
Man, great racing. You can see Bell. We've talked about him all day, making his way to the front. He gets up there with the Zilich truck. We'll see which one of those guys are better.
I really think, Michael, now as as things are starting to shake out and you look at the top 4, we're kind of starting to see who the 4 best trucks are right there in that grouping, right? And as good as Zilich was in stage 1, Chandler Smith was really good towards the end of the run as well. Did they make an adjustment there? I know they were pleased with their truck on the long runs yesterday. And Christopher Bell is just all the way through the field already. We didn't expect to see somebody move that far through the field.
Gets radio on the 18 meantime.
If he was sitting there pumping the pedal, like while we were looking at everything, there was no brake fluid working anywhere, dude. All the lines, all the wheels are clear. It has to be something inside. It's all going to be a fast 30, you know what I'm saying? We might not fix it. When it's the second piece, that could be a fluid bolt, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so just to dissect what they were saying right there, basically what they're saying is there is no leak within the system that we could see. Maybe there's something wrong with the master cylinder. Maybe we have something else going on. But what I'm noticing even more than that is Tyler Ankrum on the racetrack right now. You can see how early he's lifting into the corners. He is extremely uncomfortable with something going on with that truck.
Well, and his last lap time was nearly 2 seconds off of the lead. So he's definitely got issues. And man, this is a terrible break for this team.
He runs 28. Final truck on the lead lap. He began the day with the final spot for the chase. Right now, he's in 12th, so 2 spots off the cut line and 10 points off the cut line.
They're going to have to utilize this next stage break completely. They're going to have a opportunity to really try to dissect this because as it stands right now, it's making Jake Garcia's job maybe even a little bit easier as the day goes on, as we see him up there battling. He's actually trying to battle to get the 4th position back right now. So those 2 tires and that tough restart that we talked about for Jake Garcia, that truck is fast.
He did his job too, Regan. That was a tough job to ask the Goldberg's left side tires to be stuck down on the bottom, come out of that thing and still be inside of the top 5. Give him a big attaboy for that restart.
Here's a question I got, Michael, as we watch how nice he's done on these 2 right side tires with this truck, is that we near this next pit stop. What do you do if you're the crew chiefs? Do you throw caution to the wind if you're further back in the pack and say, hey, it worked for him. Let's see if we can make it work.
It's Connor Zilich out front, but a good battle. Chandler Smith is right there in his tailgate.
Working lap number 90 here at New Hampshire on FS1.
America, bound by faith, freedom, and opportunity. Its prosperity owed to a long line of warriors and an ethos that remains unwavering. Our warfighters stand on the shoulders of giants who have taught us to fight and win. America's War Department continues to build the most lethal fighting force on the planet. Because peace demands strength. Now's the time to earn a place in the fight for the American cause. And the shoulders the next generation stand on will be yours.
Went to go get a slice of pizza. I didn't think they were going to be on commercial that quick. Connor Zilic, race leader. We saw that happen right on the restart. Took it away from Chandler Smith. Connor Zilic went on to win stage number 1. Still got 18 laps to go in stage 2. Newcomer up inside the top 3 for the first time, though. Christopher Bell working his way up through the field as well. We'll head through the full field running order here. Connor Zilic leads. Chandler Smith in second. Christopher Bell third. Lane Riggs fourth. Jake Garcia is fifth, with Gio Ruggiero in 6th place, Daniel Hemrick 7th, Gavin Bushell in 8th, Stuart Friesen now up to 9th, and Connor Mosack rounds out the top 10. 11th is Andres Perez, Grant Enfinger in 12th, 13th is Christian Eckes, 14th Justin Haley, Ty Majeski in 16th, 15th now. 16th is John Hunter Nemechek, Tristan McKee in 17th, Caden Honeycutt back up to 18th. They've resolved whatever his issue was. He was 31st, a lap down at the end of stage 1. Got the free pass under the last caution. Corey LaJoie's in 19th, Ben Rhodes in 20th, Michael Christopher Jr. in 21st, Cole Butcher 22nd, Dawson Sutton 23rd, Connor Hall 24th, and Parker Eatman 25th. Minnie Tyrell 26th, Tanner Gray 27th, Tyler Ankrum last on the lead lap in 28th, having some brake issues today, and he has not made up any spots since the restart. Brennan Queen in 29th, 30th, Colin Braun. They're the first 2 trucks a lap down. Patrick Emmerling in 31st, Chris Wright 32nd, Timmy Hill 33rd, Luke Baldwin 34th, 35th, Landon Lewis, and Spencer Boyd 36th. Boyd out of the race, Lewis and Baldwin many laps off the lead lap after incidents as well today. 4 cautions, 4 lead changes, 21 laps of yellow out of the 96 laps complete out of 175, just over an hour into the race. And again, stage 1 winner was Connor Zilic. So far today, he has led for 36 laps. Most laps led in the race is Zilic. 35 laps led for the pole sitter, Lane Riggs. It's the only time he has led this afternoon. 14 laps led for Jake Garcia on that strategy call to go right side tires only during the last pit stop. 10 laps led for Chandler Smith at one point before Zilic was able to get back by him for the lead. And those are the only 4 drivers to lead at least 1 lap in today's race.
The day, how big of a storyline it was going to end up being. There's a lot of pressure on these drivers and teams, and not only do you have the pressure, but if you're Tyler Ankrum, then now you got the issues, the brake pressure going on, and things like that. So this thing is all fixed up, and I know we talked a lot about Jake Garcia, but let's not forget about Stuart Friesen either. With Tyler Ankrum having the trouble that he's having, that has brought Stuart Friesen right back into this thing as well.
Top 7 have clinched their spot in the chase, which begins in a few weeks. Mid-September at Bristol.
There's that shit. Watching the guy start 4th here. Bam.
It's wild to think that they'd be shifting right now, Michael.
Yeah.
And I don't believe we saw that last year at all. And you give these drivers and teams enough time to work on stuff and look at different options and what you can do, and they're going to find a way.
You talk about being surprised. You can see there Stewart did not shift in 3 and 4. So I think it might have a little bit to do with how you get through the corner if you feel like you've got good momentum, or maybe 1 and 2 just not as much grip, and he's using that lower gear to get up on that back straightaway.
Lowy is in 1 and 2 also, right? He's way down there with that flat. That flat maybe needs just a little bit of extra help to turn the truck to get it to do that. Sometimes when you downshift, it can help that out. And I'm impressed that he's got the grip off the corner still in 3rd gear that he's able to maintain coming up off of it. It's a turn.
Those things are winding out, aren't they?
I like that, don't you, Regan?
Will you do that at Bristol?
I hope not. I certainly hope not. As we see right here, Lane Riggs catching back to Christopher Bell and completing that pass right now. And as we're getting the laps on the tires, we saw that first run. I thought Christopher Bell maybe would be working his way forward just a little bit more right now, and not quite playing out the way that I think we would have anticipated with him having that track position.
I think Lane is just putting together some good laps right now. If I look at the scoring pylon, his lap times the last couple, he's been faster than our leader, Jake Garcia. That two-tire strategy you brought up, do the other teams take notice to this, or do they all get four? It'll be fun to watch here in a bit.
The secret's definitely out now that is in play, and that is an option. And I don't know that Jake was good in the first stage, but based on what he's done, so far in this stage, and possibly a little adjustment as well with it, but I just think that's been a right now to maintain that.
And the fact that he knew going in it was due for die, and on lap one gets rammed from behind, damage to the back.
Wow.
The fact he's in the position he's in right now is feels a little bit miraculous in its own right.
It's impressive just the way he's kept his act together, head down, overcoming a lot of challenges and putting himself in this position.
It's going stage two. Silich out front. He's led 44 laps. Riggs led the first 34 of this race. Garcia led 13. Chandler Smith has led 11.
Chandler Smith closing in our leader, fastest truck on the track last time around. Looks like a little bit maybe loose there for Zilich off turn 4.
Yeah, and this is, Michael, this is shaping up to be a lot of fun. These two trucks very evenly matched, right? We saw Chandler Smith in a similar position 1 year ago in New Hampshire. I started saying earlier, we had a battle for the lead. I had to cut out of my thought process there, but similar position, right? He ran second a year ago here at New Hampshire, and know how much he wants to get that win. And right now, he's right where he needs to be, and I just think these guys are going to be like this throughout the rest of this race. I think you're starting to see that what they've got is where they're going to be at the end of these runs.
These guys sizing each other up. Lane Riggs last time by was faster than both of them. A little bit of ground to make up. He's over 3 seconds back. Gavin Michelle here is inside the top 10, racing at New Hampshire today and going to run the ARCA race tomorrow. So
Busy man.
nice weekend. That's what you want as a race car driver. You want to race all you can, especially when you're a young man.
And Gavin, another one of these young guys that we have talked about, how good these young drivers are doing as they come into the truck series. And a couple weeks back at IRP, such a strong run for him at Indianapolis Raceway Park, and backing that up again today, and the race ready that these guys are at such a young age, it is absolutely blowing my mind, the amount of talent that is coming through the ranks right now.
Well, we talked about Tristan McKee early in the race. He had an issue on pit road, fell outside the top 10, racing for a spot in the top 5. He's all the way back to 18th. I think he slid through his pit, which is part of the learning process. You're going to make a mistake here and there, but both Tristan and Gavin have just done a great job of getting their legs under them and going out and racing very competitively in this series.
Talked about Moshel and ARCA race, Springfield, Illinois. Our guys Eric Brennan and Phil Parsons will be on the call for that one on the dirt coming up tomorrow.
Oh, I'll be glad to a lot of fun watching those ARCA cars on dirt. Stuart Friesen sizing up Connor Mosak. You talked about every point mattered, Regan. There's one right there. Can we go get it?
Yeah, this is not insignificant right here for Stewart, right? This point, as we've documented, the troubles for Tyler Ankrum becomes more critical for him, and it's like Connor Bozak getting away from him just a little bit here right now, and trust me, Stewart's doing everything he can in the truck because he knows how critical that could be as we down to the end of the race.
Less than 3 to go here. Stage number 2. Connor Zilich, a leader in the 71.
Coming up on Chris Wright. Trying to put him a lap down. Patrick Emmerlin wanting to stay in the position he's in without losing another lap. He's won now. Connor doesn't care. He just wants to go.
He knows he's got a hungry Chandler Smith behind him. He has been able to stretch just a little bit of a gap since we last saw on Chandler Smith and clicked off a few lap times to be able to drive away just a little bit. Give himself some breathing room, right? You can work the lap traffic a little smoother with that breathing room, and two trucks in between you start to feel just a little bit better.
Final lap of stage number 2. Down the back stretch he goes in a 1 second lead. Connor Zilich in the 71. Spire Motorsports, pretty impressive. He won stage 1. And now at stage 2, stretching things out on Chandler Smith out of 3 and 4. And in the 2 races at New Hampshire with stages, the winner swept stages 1 and 2. We'll see if that holds true as Connor Zilich takes stage number 2. I'll say what we said after stage 1, thanks to my good friend Michael. The day could have week for that man, Connor Zilich on FS1.
Twice yearly prep is here. 1 office visit every 6 months. 2 times a year for HIV prevention. That's 1-2 prep. That's Yes2Go. Yes2Go is an injectable prescription medicine that helps to protect against HIV through sex. 1 office visit every 6 months. 1 during your summer sun, and 1 during your winter fun. 1 during your summer glow, and 1 during your winter glam. You must be HIV negative to receive Yes2Go. Get tested for HIV before each injection. If you think you were exposed to HIV or have flu-like symptoms, tell your healthcare provider right away. HIV testing may be needed. Yes2Go does not prevent other sexually transmitted infections. It's safe for sex and get Yes2Go as scheduled. Missing doses increase your chance of getting HIV. Tell your provider about your medical conditions, if you are pregnant or plan to be, and all the medicines and supplements you take, as Yes2Go may affect some medicines. The most common side effects are injection site reactions, headache, and nausea. Rare serious injection site reactions can occur, so tell your provider about any side effects. 99.9% of people state HIV negative. Ask a healthcare provider if Yes2Go is right for you.
It's that time of year again. The real New Year is almost here. Whether it's lunchtime with Lunchables or after school with Kraft mac and cheese.
All right, back again. End of stage 2. I was getting my other slice of pizza. I thought I had enough time to go for the stage yet. Connor Zilich wins the first 2 stages of today's race. It sounds surprising because of the year he's had in Cup, but again, he did win an O'Reilly race at Bristol earlier in the season. Now trying to get the win here today in the New Hampshire truck race as well. Chandler Smith sits in 2nd, Lane Riggs 3rd at the end of the stage, Christopher Bell 4th, Jake Garcia 5th, 6th was Gio Ruggiero, 7th Daniel Hemrick, Gavin Bichelle at 8th, Connor Mosack 9th, and Stuart Friesen gets the final stage point in 10th. So I'm going to update the points at the top of the screen again. Tanner Gray has been mathematically eliminated from chase contention. And then Garcia got 6 stage points for finishing 5th. So his gap is going to be down to 13 points below Anchor. Friesen gets 1 stage point, so he's back to 20 points below the cut line again. Actually, he was 20. Now it's 19. I had that back. 19. Daniel Hemrick got 3 points. 4. He was 7. Hemrick gets 4. And is now plus 47 above the cut line. And I don't think Ben Rhodes got any stage points. So he's still plus 53. 21st for Ben Rhodes at the end of the stage.
Arca Racing on FS1, 6:30 Eastern, NHRA on FS1.
It's a lot of horsepower in one day right there. You can just lock in on the couch all day long, and man, how fun is that going to be?
It's going to be a great day of motorsports. Can't wait to watch those Indy cars in our nation's capital. See right there, 18 of Tyler Ankrum. They're under that truck trying to diagnose the brake problem. Guys all over the place. Pit road is closed, but when you have an issue, Regan, you just get in there and work on it as soon as you can. Here comes the whole crowd down pit road.
Fill up with Sunoco race fuel with 0 carbon bioethanol. Amanda.
Yeah, Chandler Smith is the first truck in, getting his service done. They wanted to be a little tighter for this last little haul in stage 3 as we finish off the rush. He was a runner-up here last year, Josh.
The 71 of Connor Zillage, he was a hair tight during that run. His biggest concern is whether anybody was gaining on him. No adjustments for the 71. As far as the 98, it'll be 4 tires and fuel. They do not want to make any chassis adjustments. They want to see how this truck runs now with 4 fresh tires, guys.
Reason +9 off pit road.
Whoa. Strategy coming into play.
No question
Like
about
Christopher Jr. in the 72 rode off first.
Friesen, Christopher Jr., Riggs, McKee, and Gray in the race off pit road. That 52 squarely on the bubble as we get set for the third and final stage in the final race of the regular season.
How do you nourish a cat for a lifetime? Purina Cat Chow. Chow, chow, chow. Chow, chow. Chow, chow, chow. Purina Cat Chow. Everybody's proud. It's not the chow, chow, chow. Trusted nutrition for every life stage for over 60 years. Cat Chow. Chow, chow, chow.
Steak, chicken, shrimp, protein rolls, man. We'll have Fritz, your protein going over 90 grams. Join us, brother.
Patients who have sensitive teeth but also want whiter teeth, they have to make a choice, one versus the other. Sensodyne Clinical White provides 2 shades whiter teeth as well as providing 24/7 sensitivity protection. Patients are going to love to see Sensodyne on the shelf.
This is the one who can fix nearly anything and turns to Granger, who has almost everything. Few may see him, but he's the one that keeps it all on track. The industrial-grade products you need. Call, click, or stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Jeff has a talent.
He's going to love it. It's going to be great.
Cooking bad food.
Hated it.
Halloween kitchen nightmares. Tuesday at 8/7/7/15.
Start Saturday strong. Listen to this truck with Big Bear Saturday. Defending national champions Indiana look to kick off their campaign with a statement against North Texas. The best pregame, the best announcements. Big news Saturday, September 5th on Fox.
For Pediasure, I was concerned he was behind in growth. His pediatrician had us try Pediasure. It's clinically proven to help kids grow. It has 7 nutrients for immune support. Now his confidence has grown too. Nutrition for growth and immune support.
Government knows how far guys will go to stop sweat. Just not take them. Ignore harsh acts. Trust the science. New 96-hour Dove Men Maximum Protection. Keeps you dry longer than you need. Who cares for your skin?
Behind every DIY.
There's more help than you think.
Sometimes help is delivered.
And sometimes it's just a tap away. Because do it yourself
Doesn't have to mean
all by yourself.
what are you working on?
What is this?
It's the most important box in the world. This box contains all.
Hampshire, we talked about the great storylines on the bubble here in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series regular season finale. And disaster moments ago for the 98 of Jake Garcia on pit road.
Yeah, and we noticed as we were going to break that he lost a lot of positions on pit road. And this is going to tell the story as to why, but not only did he lose a lot of positions, take a look at that right front tire. That right front tire is outside of the pit box right there. Pit stop was slow, a 21-second pit stop for him. Fell all the way back to 19th. Didn't return to the track around the trucks that he was running around. On top of that, it's a tail end of the longest line penalty on this restart, Michael, after having that happen. So a lot of things going on for Jake Garcia right now. This thing, it's just got flipped upside down again.
We talked about all the things that were going right for this team and the job that he was doing. But in that situation, it just looked like he just didn't quite get in his box like he wanted to. He was going too slow when he got there.
52 of Friesen certainly benefits from the struggles of Ankrum and now Garcia, and Amanda has more as you see the penalty on Garcia. Okay, no Amanda, we will green instead, but we will continue to monitor that because now, as they run, Friesen is that 10th and final chase.
And keep in mind, Stuart Friesen took 2 tires here also to try and leapfrog and do what Jake Garcia did. So, man,
What about Mike?
Friesen hasn't had the pace Garcia's had today. Friesen's been a little bit outside the top 10, but top 15 most of the day. Garcia, remember, was 9th at the end of stage 1, so ends up 5th, gains some spots there. Green flag is in the air, stage 3 underway. Stuart Friesen is the race leader trying to get the final chase spot, and it is a madhouse and a land rush through turns 1 and 2. Never found out so far. I think I saw nearly 5 wide right in the middle of all that. Few rows of 3 wide, that's for sure. Lane Riggs trying to take away the top spot, get out ahead to an early lead, build a gap between he, Connor Zilich, and Christopher Bell, trying to make their way through the field. Zilich and Bell in the back half of the top 10 at the moment. Huge slide job by Lane Riggs, so much so he actually washed up out of the groove just a bit, but still beats Friesen down the back straightaway. We have a new leader. 55 laps to go at New Hampshire Motor Speedway this time by. And we got a crash in turns 3 and 4, a little bit further back in the pack. Looks like Timmy Hill, John Hunter Nemechek involved. There's another truck in there as well. Timmy Hill off the lead lap. Nemechek was on the lead lap. I would assume Hill got caught up in the aftermath of all that. Chris Wright, the 81, also involved. 6th caution of the day, our 4th for incident. And we've had at least one of them in every of the 3 stages. Everybody's good on fuel to the end of this one, so if we were to catch any cautions like right now, we're not guaranteed to see any pit stops. Definitely not going to see any pit stops at the moment. And Nemechek was already around, and it looked like the 81 tried to miss him on the outside, clipped the left rear of Nemechek's truck. That's where the heavy left front damage for Chris Wright came in. And Timmy Hill didn't really have much damage. He was just kind of parked next to the outside wall, trying to come to a stop before contact was made. Tim Brown, thanks for tuning in. Riggs got to the lead ahead of Friesen. Caution comes out immediately after. Now we're going to have right around 50 laps to go for the next restart. Top dozen in the running order. Lane Riggs leads. Stuart Friesen in 2nd. Tampa Gray in 3rd. Trisha McKee 4th. Michael Christopher Jr. in 5th. Giro Ruggiero in 6th. 7th for Connor Mosak. Connor Zilich 8th. Christopher Bell 9th. Chandler Smith 10th. Andres Perez, Christian Eckes 11th and 12th. So Lane Riggs, Stuart Friesen. 1 and 2 on the leaderboard. Friesen took right side tires only to gain track position. He's 19 points below the cut line entering the final stage. That means by 19 positions, he would have to outrun Tyler Ankrum. And then he would also have to beat Jake Garcia by 6 positions. So he's got to beat Garcia by 6 spots. He has to beat Ankrum by 19. And Garcia obviously would have to beat Ankrum by 13 because he's 13 points back. Garcia had that pit penalty where they had pitted out of the box. Garcia did not have his car in his pit box entirely when service was made. That dropped him to the tail end of the lead lap. Ankrum has been towards the tail end of the lead lap. Ankrum in 28th. And with Friesen in second right now, that is enough points that Friesen would be able to beat both Garcia and Ankrum by. Just got to see how well he can hold on with the right side tires only. I like the call to get a little bit more track position because Friesen was 10th at the end of the last stage. And it worked for Garcia. Netted him an extra 4 positions from where he was at the end of stage 1.
So what do you think, Regan?
I think right now, Michael, we've got trucks that we haven't seen up front all day long, and some guys on 2 tires, some guys on 4 tires. That's what's got this mixed up. And now this caution for the guys on 2 tires is a really good thing.
Well, and one of those guys is Friesen, who runs second, and at the moment is 10th. Just in the right spot for the cutoff, and Amanda has more on Stewart.
Yeah, guys, and Regan, as you mentioned, he did take those 2 tires to put himself in this position, but the team was talking to him about him being surrounded by guys on that last restart that were on 4 tires. They talked about how Jake had managed it in stage 2 and told him just to trust his tools and work on his exit in terms of increasing his or bettering his lap times. But I do want to lead to a little radio here with Stewart. You have to think, does he think he's clawed his way out of that lobster pie yet?
He's still got brake issues. The other truck we're racing is locked, but he's going to the rear. Let's lay it out. Much better.
Well, so Stewart Friesen benefiting off of a mistake by the 98, who falls back to 12th as they run in the standings.
I don't think this thing's anywhere near over. There's going to be so many moving parts and pieces. We'll have to keep our stat guys at the computer's smoking up in here to keep up with everything that's going on.
And you know, you say, well, can Ankrum now, who's had a rough day, climb back in? Well, boy, if you're Friesen, you're looking at Ankrum, who's back in 30th right now, last truck of the lead lap. So he and Garcia are well back in the field, and Friesen is right there in second on those 2 tires. Speaking of the 98, Josh has more.
Yeah, from bad to worse for the 98. Of course, he had that issue on pit road and had to serve that penalty. But then after that, when the caution came out, he was caught up in the mess that happened, and he actually went down into the grass and got damage to the right side of that truck. When they were on pit road, they were trying to pull out the fender, try and get that fixed, as they had to add right side tires to him. So trouble for the 98 is they're going to need to be super aggressive to rally if he wants to get into the chase, guys.
Good stuff, Josh. Let's dig deeper and hear radio from moments ago from the 98. Rough day for that bubble truck. Rough day for the bubble truck, the 18 of Tyler Ankrum, who was on the right side of the bubble when the day began, and right back to Josh on him.
Yeah, for the 18th Tyler Ankrum, they're continuing to try and figure out the issue with the brakes. They checked brake fluid during the last stop. No issue there. The brake fluid is full. So then they were checking the pedals during this last stop. He continues to have an issue with this truck and those brakes, and they have not been able to diagnose it. That's it, yeah, guys.
Yeah, and I think they just dive all over this truck, trying to do anything they can to diagnose the problem.
And I would say at some point, Michael, basically, it's going to be, hey, it's on you. Get whatever you can for us. Tyler, there's a lot of craziness happening, right? We know that Stuart Friesen's up there running in the second position right now. Appears to be maybe in the catbird seat just a little bit with the problems with this number 18 truck. But keep in mind, too, Jim Garcia makes that mistake on pit road, has to restart in the back of the field. Then as that caution came out, we saw that he was down on the bottom. Didn't think that he had any damage from that. Apparently, after that radio, something happened after the fact to cause him to get some right side damage. Had to pit again to work on that truck, so he's all the way in the back again right now. I don't know. I need a breath.
There's a lot of moving parts.
Regan just tossed his pen. God, it just, where do you go from here?
His hat on, is that all he can stand right now?
Going back to green here in New Hampshire. It'll be 47 to go in the regular season finale.
Fanning out, as we've seen all day long.
Playing ranks at the 34. Back out to the lead. It's Gray in the 15 who runs second and Freeze at the 52. Tolls on a third.
Truck I'm looking at, you see the 17 to Gio Ruggiero right there. Able to clear his way into third. A very good restart for him as he got down into turns 1 and 2, was able to go really low. He's one of those trucks, as we're talking about, 2 versus 4 tires. 4 tires on that 17. They were really quick yesterday as well. And flex that muscle today, but we're seeing it early on now again in this restart.
And it is freezing when it fans out. He ends up in second place, 7/10 off the lead. So Stuart Friesen gives him the runner-up spot. Breaks it from the where they head down the back stretch with 36 laps to go here in New Hampshire.
Mike Christopher Jr. in that 72 truck. That's a tribute to his Uncle Ted. Reefer Northeast.
Bozak looks good in the 7 truck. Gunning for a top 5 spot here, working on Gray.
Oh, spin.
It's a spin for Christopher Bell running up inside the top 10 in the 62. And caution is out.
He just got turned in that traffic.
Unfortunate for Christopher. Had we documented all the passes he made to work his way up towards the front and lost some of that track position with the guys that took 2 tires versus his 4, and then that restart just did not go his way.
See what? Just got hooked a little bit.
In 12 starts across the 3 NASCAR series, the man has 7 wins on this track. Racy today, but unfortunate late in the race. He gets spun here in New Hampshire.
Isn't a great camera angle to see exactly how that ended up taking place, but what we do know is Christopher Bell up against the outside wall through turns 1 and 2, and that's probably going to drop him out of contention of trying to win this race with less than 50 laps to go. Bell was in a pretty good position there to still go for the win. I thought he was the truck to beat after stage 1, going from 17th to 5th, but didn't really get any higher than 3rd in stage 2. Lost some track position on pit road during the stage break. He was back half of the top 10 at the time of the incident there, and now going to be at the tail end of the lead lap. He should be able to continue. He doesn't have as much damage as other trucks who have crashed up against the outside wall in both 1 and 2 or 3 and 4 today with the back of their trucks, but we've seen 3 incidents kind of take place where trucks spin around backwards up towards that wall after contact to the left rear corner panel. This time it's Christopher Bell, one of the threats for the win. As caution's going to buy Stuart Friesen a little bit more time. He's going to remain up at the front of the field just a little bit longer on those right side tires. That's less green flag laps for him to potentially lose spots. The only problem is here as well is when you bunch the field back up together, it could cause more calamity. And if you're Friesen, you just want to stay out of trouble and try to make it on into the chase the way that things are running right now. That's going to give another position also for Garcia and Ankrum at the tail end of the lead lap, because that's going to be another driver that has damage and will line up behind them. Ankrum's still back in 29th. He's been on and off of pit road every one of these cautions late. Garcia has moved up to 23rd, picking up a spot or 2, it seems like, per restart. Top 10 in the running order right now. Lane Riggs leads. Stuart Friesen 2nd. Gio Ruggiero 3rd. Tristan McKee 4th. Connor Mosack in 5th. Tanner Gray is 6th. 7th is Connor Zilich. Michael Christopher Jr. 8th. Chandler Smith 9th. And Andres Perez is currently finishing out the top 10. 2026 Riggs time in the trucks. He's definitely the championship favorite. He's the points leader for a reason. He's fast everywhere we go. And like we saw flashes of how good Caden Honeycutt could be last week or at Watkins Glen. Both those races he absolutely dominated. But the fact we only have 2 traditional short tracks in the chase and no road courses, I do think hurts Caden Honeycutt a bit. He's been good other places, but when he's been good, Lane Rings has been great. And now that he's going to have that 25-point cushion, when we start the chase with Riggs being the number 1 seed, it's going to make it that much harder for Honeycutt. He's going to have to find a way to win more races. If Lane Riggs goes out there and wins 2 or 3 races in the chase, that means Honeycutt's going to have to probably win 1 more than him, and you're looking at 3 to 4. And I just don't think Honeycutt's capable of doing that.
Tomorrow we got football starting up, and then here in the sports. What a
Pennant Chase baseball as well. Get to that time of the year. And Christopher Bell pitted moments ago in the 62 after he was part of the most recent caution here with 42 to go.
While we're counting all that's going on in the sports world, watch this. Good to see. Just it looked like maybe Chandler thought Bell would stay up a little bit. Bell was driving to the bottom. The pass crossed.
And maybe even overcooked the corner just a little bit there. And then, something just had a ton of laps to build up fully to air pressure under green, right? I'd hate to think he was on the splitter at that point there. He was down quite a ways on the racetrack. And, I mean, there's no denying what happened, right? The 38 got into the 62, and just curious as to how we got to that point. I think we got some radio from Chandler Smith right here. And there's our answers. We know what happened.
What it turned.
He runs 9th after starting 12th. Chandler Smith in the 38. So front row with their 2 trucks in the top 10. Riggs, the control truck, is carefully gunning for his 6th win of the season. He's already clinched the regular season title here in 2026. Under green here in New Hampshire.
Nice launch there for Gio on the bottom. You see him laid back just a little bit. He's able to anticipate the start. And he hold that second spot. Reason's trying to grab the red.
It's Riggs, then Ricciero, then Friesen in the 52. We were just talking in the break. If you're the 52, what's the mindset here with the trucks that he's battling to get into the chase? Back in the field for the ball.
I mean, I think if you're Stuart Friesen right now, you want to settle in 3rd place. As it stands is good enough. It'll do what you need to do. So settle in, just save your stuff a little bit. Shifts down to 3rd gear there. We've seen him doing that a lot here in the race, but settle in and maintain every spot you can. Try to keep that 6-point buffer there. You already know that Jake Garcia, he's having some troubles. He's got to make up spots to get to you. The 18 truck, we don't fully know if they've been able to fix those brakes, but I think the general consensus would be that they haven't, and he's probably going to have what he's going to have the rest of the way right now.
He's still mired back around 30, and well, he's now to 28 shots. Since the restart, Garcia's +5 to 18. So that's kind of the guy to watch as Ankrum is way deep.
And I think you're exactly right. That's going to be the story. And you see Ankrum right here. 3 wide. Oh, these guys are battling like crazy. But watch when he gets to turn 3. You're going to see Tyler Ankrum. Look at how early he lifts right there. He doesn't have anything to battle with. So he's in a little bit of a tough spot right now.
But look what he's looking at. Truck slipping and sliding, beating into each other. Action all over this little mile truck.
Back that deep in the field. Ankrum began the day in the final chase spot, but at the moment, he's the first man out, followed by Garcia in the 98.
Colin Brown in the 25 truck right there. Closing in on the entry, as you saw there, Regan, you pointed out. That's where he's giving up all his time.
Get back up for me, Jake Garcia. You see Jake battling right now.
Garcia's picking up a lot of spots.
He is going to be the storyline, I think, as this keeps playing out. Right now, he's 9 points back, but we've seen that he's got a fast truck. We've seen that he can move his way through the field as he's looking at 9 spots. Michael, that's the key. That's a lot of positions in 36 laps, and things are going to have to go just right for him. And he is going to have to get aggressive at some point if he's going to make it happen to get the passes done quick right there. You know, I love what he did with the 91.
It was a great corner by Garcia.
By his teammates.
That's good running right there. By the way, up front, Stuart Friesen, last time by, was the second fastest truck on the track. So he's stabilized. He's hanging right there in the third spot, doing everything he can as these guys go 3 wide. Big block.
So 35 laps to go. Again, just to kind of clarify where we're at the moment. Stuart Friesen third as of trying to get that final chase spot. Took right side tires only during the stage 2 pit stops. Garcia had a pit penalty. He's trying to come back from that. And Friesen has to beat Garcia by 6 positions in order to get that final chase spot. And he also has to beat Tyler Ankrum by 20 positions. And right now, Ankrum has had troubles all day long, and he's back at 30th. Last car on the lead lap. And things not going good for Ankrum. Garcia would also have to beat Ankrum by 13 positions, which as of right now, he is by just 1 spot. He's in 16th. Ankrum is currently in 30th. So it looks like Friesen and Garcia, who came in 11th and 12th in points entering the day, are the two that could be battling for this final chase spot in the regular season finale. And we're down to just over 30 laps to go. Time is ticking. Definitely not a lot of that left. Three-tenths of a second lead right now for Riggs over Ruggiero. 9/10, excuse me. 9/10 of a second lead between Lane Riggs and Gio Ruggiero. Riggs was the fastest truck on track that last time by. Zilic, who won the first 2 stages, is back up to 5th after losing time on pit road earlier. In the traffic he's in right now, kind of hard to gauge lap time, but he has been faster than the 3rd and 4th place trucks ahead of him. But that last lap, both 34 and 17 were quicker than the 71. Ben Rhodes, Daniel Hemrick are not locked into the chase yet, but they're looking very, very good on points. Very unlikely that they would fall out. It would probably take a Garcia or Friesen win, plus Tyler Ankrum having the poor performance he's having right now. Friesen's in 3rd at the moment, but the problem is 3 of those drivers are going to get in and 2 are not. So even if that were to happen, and say like Hemrick falls out, then it would still be Rhodes getting in or vice versa. Ben Rhodes has not had a good day at all today. He's been around 20th for most of this race, currently in 19th still. And for Garcia at this moment as well, he's picked up 6 positions from the restart to 15th. And Christopher Bell, who just spun, is up to 17th, right back where he started, and up 12 positions from the restart with just less than 40 laps to go. We're at 29 laps to go as we run for the time being. Ruggiero chipping in just a little bit after Lane Riggs for the race lead at the front of the field. Down to just less than an 8/10 of a second difference between the two. So Lane Riggs is out in front, Gio Ruggiero in 2nd, Stuart Friesen 3rd, Tristan McKee 4th, 5th is Chandler Smith. Caden Honeycutt back up to 6th. Good comeback of his own after being a lap down earlier at the end of stage 1. Connor Zilic is now back to 7th, Michael Christopher Jr. in 8th, Connor Mosak 9th, and Andres Perez rounds out the top 10. 11th is Ty Majeski, Gavin Bichelle in 12th, Corey LaJoy in 13th, Grant Enfinger 14th, and Jake Garcia 15th. 16th is Daniel Hemrick with Christopher Bell 17th. 18th, Christian Eckes, Tanner Gray 19th, and Ben Rhodes in 20th. Justin Haley 21st, Dawson Sutton 22nd, Parker Eatman 23rd, Jonathan Nemechek 24th, 25th, Cole Butcher 26th. Now 25th is Connor Hall, just past Cole Butcher. Butcher now 26th. Colin Braun in 27th. Tyler Ankrum up a couple spots from where we last saw. He's in 28th. Brendan Queen, 29th. Minnie Tyrell, 30th. He's the last truck on the lead lap. Then Timmy Hill, who was involved in an incident, is 2 laps down at 31st. Chris Wright 32nd, Landon Lewis 33rd, Luke Baldwin 34th, Patrick Emmerling 35th, and Spencer Boyd 36th. Of the trucks that we see off the lead lap right now, 5 of the 6 had incidents at some point today, and for Emmerling, a mechanical failure taking him out. That's why he's 18 laps down and currently off track. So quite a few incidents so far. 7 cautions in the first 151 laps. 24 laps to go this time by at the Magic Mile. One lap recently, Ruggiero was a couple tenths faster than Riggs. I think Riggs might have missed his marks just a bit, but since opened that lead back up again, it's now at 1.3 seconds. A 5-second lead back to Friesen in third. Things are looking very, very good for Riggs. My pre-race pick for the win. Michael Christopher Jr. took right side tires under the last pit stop with his teammate Friesen, also still holding on to the top 10 and 9. Zilich also still has the fastest laps of the race today in 7th. So as for Tristan McKee, Caden Honeycutt, they both picked up a couple of spots in the restart. Chandler Smith all over the back of the 52. And now looking to the inside, Smith for third. Another point in the wrong direction for Friesen as Garcia tries to make ground up through the field. While the laps are going down quickly for Jake Garcia and trying to pick these positions up as fast as possible, they couldn't go any faster if it was Stuart Friesen. Because he doesn't have quite the tire life, nor the truck with other trucks that are around him have been outpacing him for most of the day. The likes of McKee, Honeycutt, Zilich are in his rearview mirror. A little bit of spacing between those guys, but they're the next drivers coming after Friesen for position. Garcia still outside the top 10 and definitely racing around trucks that he has outran for most of the day. He's got Corey LaJoie, Andres Perez, and Gavin Bichelle, the next 3 drivers in front of him. Very much passable if it is Garcia, and he looks to the inside right now on LaJoie. Three points is the difference between Friesen and Ankrum. 4 points back to Garcia, as Ankrum has picked up a couple more spots here lately, just past Nemechek, who's got a beaten, battered truck on track. At least Ankrum, with the issues he's had today, he's kept the truck clean. And he's up to 27th. And also, as Lane Riggs either manages or pulls away with his lead over second place for right now. The battle for the chase and that cutoff spot going to be becoming the bigger thing that we're going to be paying attention to in these closing laps. Riggs is winning the pole. Yeah, I meant to close that at the end of stage 2, and I didn't, so I'll close that now. Guess you guys had a little extra time to vote today for who you think was going to win. A lot of the percentage in the chat definitely took Riggs for the W. Gotta refresh the page now so I can actually see the results. YouTube acting a little slow on me. There we go. Yeah, I had to refresh it. Lane Riggs at 32% of the votes. Christopher Bell went down a lot after his crash, because he was right there with Lane Riggs. He and Zilich both finished at 22% of the votes. Zilich went up from 15% after winning the first 2 stages, and then other at 24%. Pretty even poll for the most part, but Riggs unanimously the winner. And we'll see if Lane Riggs can hold on. Still a 1.3 second lead. 17 laps to go. Coming into this race, Riggs has 5 wins on the season, looking for number 6. And he's got to be closing in on double-digit wins in the Truck Series, if I'm not mistaken, as well, for his career. He had a few wins in his rookie season, but it took until the back half of it. Had a couple last year, and he might be at double digits already, honestly. Starting to rack them up pretty quickly these days. Every growing position, Garcia trying to make passes on drivers in front of him, it's going to be harder and harder, especially if he uses stuff up earlier in the runs. Probably more likely Friesen loses spots. He's got both Tristan McKee and Caden Honeycutt directly behind him. Friesen looks very loose with the rear tires entering turn 1. Keeps the truck underneath him. McKee searching to get to the inside. Ankrum trying to pick up a spot as well out the tail end of the lead lap. McKee on the inside of Friesen will make the pass into turns 3 and 4 for 4th. Friesen trying to charge right back to the outside. McKee giving him a little bit of room, and they're door-to-door on the front stretch. I thought for certain McKee was going to complete the pass through turns 3 and 4, but he did not. Now he'll sail it off deep into 1 and 2. But Friesen is holding on for all attempts and purposes. And he holds off the 16-year-old McKee, and now McKee's under duress from Caden Honeycutt. Honeycutt pushes him down the back straightaway, trying to keep the momentum up of both trucks. And Honeycutt to the outside of McKee, and that's exactly what Friesen needs, is these two to battle behind him. Buy him a little bit more time. Friesen, Ankrum, and Garcia are all winless this year, so I'm not exactly sure who has the tiebreaker between the three if it does come down to a tiebreak situation. And Garcia finally completes the pass on Andres Perez. So Garcia is now 2 points below the cut line after making the pass on Perez. Garcia now in the 12th place position. The problem is it took him so long to make that pass. He's got about, to Bushell now, a 3-second gap, 3.2 seconds behind Gavin Bushell. 2 positions ahead of him. And he's about 2 seconds off of Michael Christopher Jr., teammate of Stuart Friesen's for this race. So you definitely know he's not going to be an easy pass. Honeycutt searching to the inside, looking faster than Friesen at this point. Couldn't make the pass on the bottom that last time. 10 laps to go at the start-finish. Again, Honeycutt to the inside. Friesen is able to get back to the gas very well. He's having a good run of things. Not an easy racetrack to make passes, obviously, as well. Great strategy call taking the right side tires, only the fact that he's still in the top 5. And I think they only made that call knowing that Garcia did earlier to get stage points, and it worked out for him. Why not try the same thing? And Friesen's just doing a great job. He's keeping the truck clean, still making decent lap time. And he is very well in contention to at least get a better finish because he was running 10th at the end of stage 2. Honeycutt side drafts, getting to the inside. Ankrum, by the way, picking up another position, so now the gap is 1 point between Friesen and Ankrum. 1 point with 8.5 laps to go. Honeycutt has been on the inside multiple times of the 52 truck of Friesen, but he has not been able to complete the pass yet. Honeycutt wraps the white line down at the bottom of the racetrack. Friesen still winning that race back to the gas as soon as he can. Bumper out in front of the 11, but the advantage is for Honeycutt. Narrow entry into the corner, but the 52 is sliding the rear tires again through the center. Honeycutt so close to clearing off turn 2. And now looks like he'll slam the door shut and get clear into turns 3 and 4. As he washes up the racetrack, the 52 trying to slide in there, but goes up out of the groove, trying to make the aggressive move on his own. Friesen loses time. Tristan McKee out of the back bumper of the 52, and Honeycutt is clear for 4th. Friesen and Ankrum are tied for the final chase spot as they run right now, and the tiebreaker does go to Stuart Friesen. Friesen in fifth, has the tiebreaker, and now needs to keep his gap over Tristan McKee and hope that Tyler Ankrum does not pick up another position. And Ankrum's got spots available in front of him. 5 laps to go at the line. Lap truck right in front of the 52. Hard crash for Gavin Bushell in turns 1 and 2. A violent impact head-on into the outside wall. He was running in 10th place. And it looked like he might have had a brake failure or something.
Glimpse of it on the screen as it happened on the bottom right of the 3 screens
hit.
with everything going on that we had. And this changes everything now. Absolutely. Just everything again.
Wow.
One more twist. At least one more twist in this regular season.
Let's just throw overtime into this mess. What do y'all say?
Oh, man. Well, why not? We've seen it all so far. I think we've seen it all so
Yeah,
far.
I don't think we have, Regan. It's gonna be the wildest finish of the year. So much on the line. I like what I saw with Ankrum. You talked about the fact that as the tires got older and the traffic thinned out, that would be an advantage for Ankrum, and he did a great job racing his way into contention.
At this very second, the 52, the 18, and the 98 are all deadlocked. A 3-way tie for the final chase spot. Friesen, Ankrum, and Garcia, and here's what just happened.
Oh,
And it looks like he
got loose in. Whether
Wow.
wow, what a hit! Didn't look like there was any other truck on his back.
This looked like where the tire marks were from that, Michael. That started early, and it didn't look like he was able to really check any of the speed as it was heading to the wall either.
Tom Majeski was just ahead of him.
Talked about the challenges of turn 1, and where those tire marks, it looked like there was even possibly some tire marks prior to getting into the corner, really, just about. So
He had done such a great job again today, running inside the top 10. Sad to see it go down like that.
Now, who do you want to be? Those 3 trucks, as pit road is open.
I don't want to be the crew chiefs, I can tell you that, because I don't want to make this decision right here. Do you?
I think you got to stay out.
Yeah, I would think so, but what if you're Jake Garcia, Tyler Ankrum, back in the pack a little bit? What if everybody around you pits?
Ankrum runs 23rd at the moment. Jake Garcia runs 11th, the 98.
Oh, we got some tankers back there, Regan. You called it.
A lot of takers. Ankrum, not one of them, stayed out.
Okay, so I like that move for Tyler Ankrum, right? I think that's the perfect move because he just picked up, it looked like 5 or 6 positions right there. That's going to leapfrog him back up into the mix right now.
But then it's going to put him at the tail end of right ahead of the guys that have got tires. So he's going to be vulnerable.
We know that he can't be aggressive if he's trying to pass guys on a restart. So I think you do everything you can, gain all the spots you can. Even if you put the truck on the outside, you leave the truck on the outside and just get as much as you can and hope that you don't get run over from behind in that moment.
The 3 bubble trucks all stay out. Stuart Friesen in the 52. Tyler Ankrum in the 18. Jake Garcia in the 98. Drama here at New Hampshire to close out the regular season in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. We got a shootout and perhaps more twists and turns. We come back on FS1.
Great news. Prescribing you Ecotide, a new kind of treatment for moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Just 1 pill, once a day.
You're unbelievable.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is headed to overtime for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And we got a race for the win back on the line again. It looked like Lynn Riggs had that thing secured. Caution comes out, 5 laps to go. Gavin Bushell with a hard impact in turns 1 and 2 with a massive crash. He hit so hard driver's side door first, it actually popped the right rear tires up off the ground. Hopefully he is okay. He was running in the 10th place position at the time of incident. Stuart Friesen in 5th was barely holding on to that final chase spot, virtue of a tiebreaker on Tyler Ankrum and Jake Garcia. Unfortunately, with Michelle out of the race now, I believe that gave Garcia another position, which has him in a tie, three-way now. And because Tyler Ankrum was in a tie at the time of yellow, I think he's actually going to be 1 point to the good. The broadcast didn't have him 1 point to the good, but I think he ends up gaining some time there. And I think there were quite a few trucks that actually pitted at the back half of the field with this caution coming out. Ankrum stays out. He's able to leapfrog quite a few spots that way, and now he's just got to hold on for 2 laps, which I haven't seen that much tire fall off. It's really going to depend on who is going to stay out of an incident at this point. This caution might have saved Tyler Ankrum's season. 8th caution of the day. And again, this will push us just past the scheduled distance by a couple of laps with an overtime finish. Yeah, Stuart Friesen was the driver that ended up breaking his hip leg in a racing accident. I think it was his pelvis. Pelvis and femur? Terrible dirt racing accident. I think it was a dirt modified last year. Be a feel-good story if he was able to rebound one season later and end up making the chase. Had it up until the crash last weekend at Richmond, and now with this crash late when it looked like he might have had a chance to hang on. He's going to have to try to do what he can to pick up some positions on this restart, because I think Ankrum gained enough by staying out of the pits and enough drivers ahead of him pitted. He's going to have a couple position buffer. A lot of speedy drive being laid down in turns 1 and 2. Dump the kitty litter. Hopefully Michelle is okay. Top 5 for the next restart. Lane Riggs will be the leader. Gio Ruggiero in second. Chandler Smith third. Caden Honeycutt fourth. Stuart Friesen in fifth.
Sense the body language down here. I got crew guys up here with knees shaking, and I'm going to catch up with Bruce. And we were just talking off camera. You said you've been in this position again, but you guys have given Stuart everything to be able to fight it out. And if you're in this position, why do you want Stuart to be your driver?
This is a Saturday night shootout right here, so he's probably the best at this. First and foremost, we're hoping Dustin gets a speedy recovery at home. I got granted to be able to come out here and do this week. Been in this position before in my career, so it's just going to be a Saturday night shootout. This team brought one heck of a truck here with that Halmore Toyota. See what happens. It's going to be a fight in the back for Ankrum. It's going to be a fight up front for sure. I can tell you that. So we'll see what happens.
As Bruce just mentioned, Dustin Dunn is home watching. Guys, I don't know if I'd want to be here to watch this or at home watching it.
Amazing. What you just said.
Mathematically speaking, again, remember that Stuart Friesen would have to beat Jake Garcia by 6 positions and beat Tyler Ankrum by 19 positions. He does have the tiebreaker over both drivers as well, in the event of a tie for that final chase spot. One gets in, and the other 2 will not be able to race for a championship in the final 7 races. Friesen will be restarting in 5th. Jake Garcia 11th. And Christopher Bell, 13th.
Right there for you. Get it.
And I love spotter Eddie DeHaan on the radio, right? Giving them that information, letting them know, because that's one thing as we were talking about it a moment ago, I was thinking about 2 laps. That's all you got to do. You got to do 2 laps. Put it on the outside if you have to. Overdrive it if you have to. It's a wide racetrack. You can use a lot of it. if you need to, and the team reminding him of those things. And you know, we talked earlier, Michael, about what position you wanted to be in.
Who you want to be?
I don't know right now. I honestly don't know right now.
2-lap shootout. Leader takes the white flag. Next flag ends the race.
I like that. When Stewart was up front with the point advantage, I liked Stewart. Now I kind of like Tyler. He has an advantage. Can he hang on to it?
Friesen runs 5th. Tyler Ankrum gets big time off this caution. He's in 14th. Jake Garcia is in 11th.
Choosing it up. Getting ready to find out all this anticipation.
Drew Friesen went to the outside. Not a surprise there. I anticipated he would take the outside. I think the same thing for Tyler Ankrum as well because of the brake situation he's got.
There he went, just to the top.
Kind of on a side note, Lane Rakes going for his 6th win of the season, and he already clinched the regular season title. Oh, by the way,
Another side note, Giorgio saying, here, y'all, don't forget about me. I'm going to go try to get this victory. And Chandler Smith up on the outside.
Ruggiero has not won on a non-super speedway oval. Talladega late last year, Daytona earlier in the spring. Actually, no, Chandler Smith won that race. He won the ARCA race earlier in the spring. So Ruggiero win at Talladega late last year, the only one of his truck career to this point. Big day if he can get the win at New Hampshire today. What is going to go down on this overtime restart? Restarts have been pretty wild for the most part. Cars fanning out a ton in turns 1 and 2 all afternoon long. Back to racing at New Hampshire. And a lot of fanning out into the first turn again. Ruggiero off the front bumper of Caden Honeycutt. A little bit of a push forward. Going to wash up into the 34 of Reigns. And Ruggiero sideways. He spins in front of the pack. And he gets compacted by several race trucks. Connor Mosack being one of them. Caution's going to be out again. Dawson Sutton's involved. Next question is, did all the chase contenders end up making it through? I believe Friesen did, up towards the front of the field. Did Jake Garcia and Tyler Ankrum make it through that?
well, you said it, Michael.
Yeah.
I feel like it was today.
We're just going to stretch this regular season a little bit longer in 2026 to punch that final ticket for the chase. See who takes the checkered flag.
First of all, look at that angle. He was really low, and that just lost any chance he had to get that truck turned.
And I think Lane Riggs almost anticipated that a little bit. You saw Lane start to move up in the middle right there, and
Ankrum.
man, what a job Tyler did to get through
He
there.
was bobbing and weaving all the way through there. What a great job by that 18 truck. See,
Friesen as well.
Yeah. Look late at Ankrum right there. Just barely squeezing to the inside of Gio.
Did they hit? Do you think they made
I
the
don't think
contact?
so.
I don't know that they did.
There's no damage to the left front. Great job by Chandler squeezing to the bottom. There's Friesen.
And through that also, Jake Garcia on the far left of the screen. He was able to go all the way along on the bottom side of the racetrack as well. And, you know, we got to make note of that he found his way through there.
Look at that. Barreling down on this spinning truck. Oh. Andres Perez with big damage, too.
Nowhere to go for Mosack in the 7.
We're going to go ground level here and see the carnage off turn 2. And watch that beautiful move, the 18 truck of Tyler Ankrum. We need to hop on board with him and look at what this mess looked like.
I think that's a great idea.
Here we go. He has no idea right now.
And I don't think there was any contact at all right there. If he's able to battle his way into this chase based on that move, we're going to have to remember that.
Mosack, Ruggiero, Sutton, Perez, Eckes involved in the wreck. on lap 180. We'll do it again, re-rack them. No overtime here in New Hampshire.
Second overtime ensuing. Lane Riggs still the leader. Chandler Smith for Front Row Motorsports now up to second, and he has been strong on the short runs throughout the course of today's race. Hasn't led much, only 10 laps. Riggs has led the most in the race so far with 99 laps led, but there is another new challenger, Caden Honeycutt, up to third. He was a lap down in 31st at the end of stage one. Had significant issues where he was lacking power. They got the problem fixed. They got the free pass with an early caution in stage two. And obviously back in this thing, he's scratched and clawed his way all the way up to third. Really on speed in this final stage as he's worked his way through the field. He has looked as quick now, or I should say quicker now than what he was even earlier when he had qualified on the front row. So the 11 truck we had seen towards the front very early in the race versus right now, definitely different. Friesen in fourth. Probably going to have to win the race if he's going to make the chase now because all these cautions coming out and trucks getting taken out. The incidents are giving more positions to Garcia and Ankrum. That unless the 18 and the 98 get involved in an incident on the next restart in some way, shape, or form, Friesen's probably going to have to win to make up enough points, which is still very well possible with how many points you get for winning a race. And he is in fourth, which would be row number 2 more than likely for the restart. Riggs, Smith, Honeycutt, Friesen. Top 4. Tristan McKee, Ty Majeski are still up there. Connor Zilic, Andres Perez. Zilic winning the first 2 stages. Hasn't really been up there at contention in stage 3, but still hanging around. Christopher Bell with a spin early in the 3rd stage, and he's back up in the top 10 to 10th. And obviously Garcia 9th, as mentioned moments ago. Anchor will be reordered in 13th. Points as they run right now. Tyler Ankrum, 9 points to the good over Garcia, 10 over Friesen. Getting all these late incidents, he's just picking up so many spots. Plus drivers on fresh tires still lined up behind him as well. That pitted during the first overtime caution. Like a Rhodes, Hemrick, Enfinger. All them fresh Goodyears behind Ankrum. He could lose some spots, but again, without an incident, I don't see him losing 9+ positions from where he's at right now, especially with that wreck just happening. And a lot of those trucks behind him have significant damage if they are still on the lead lap.
Own destiny. The other 2 drivers we saw right there, Jake Garcia 9 points back and Stuart Friesen 10 points back. They don't have enough guys in front of them that they can pass to control their own destiny and you know, Tyler Ankrum out of it at this point. So it's going to be wild. We saw one wild green-white checkered already. This is going to be another one.
Okay. Amanda is with the crew chief of the 18.
Yeah, Mark Hillman just said, side job is done. It's all on Tyler Ankrum. And what a journey for the 18 today. Mark, there were crew guys that were underneath this truck working on a brake issue. What is Tyler dealing with out there?
He just had, we've got something internally. We haven't diagnosed it completely. It doesn't seem like a brake leak. It doesn't seem like we're going to be able to fix it. So I've done all we can setup-wise to try to help him with it. He's done a good job on learning how to deal with it on track. He's actually found a little bit of pace. So it's all on him now, right? So
no issue for a restart.
No, he'll be fine. He's got brake pedal. It's just not a good brake pedal, right? So.
Thank you, Mark. That's what I find most interesting. Mark was saying what Tyler is dealing with out there when it comes to the 52. I was just listening to the radio. Bruce said, "Don't worry about points right now. You just go win this race."
Bruce Cook, Friesen's crew chief. Man,
I like his attitude. Well, and that, he's got to be on offense.
And that's the one, that's the one element we have talked about. When I say that that I felt like Tyler Ankrum could control his own destiny, well, you know what, Bruce Cook's right. Caden Stuart Friesen, thank you. I'm getting all mixed up today. Stuart Friesen can control his own destiny as well by going up there, finding a way to win the race. So that is one other avenue that we haven't really thought about, partially because of the dominance in this 3rd stage that Lane Riggs has shown.
He's going to restart on row 2. I would guess he would pick the outside if that option is there for him.
I just think based on how that truck's looked all day long, he's going to have to, right, Mikey? I can't imagine him trying the bottom when it looks like his preferred line has been up a little bit.
What a day. We previewed that this was going to be a fun afternoon of NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series racing, and here it is. Stewart goes to the bottom because Honeycutt went top.
See Jake Garcia taking the bottom as well. Tyler Ankrum to the bottom. That's one that I didn't expect with the brake issues. Thought maybe the safer play was the top for him, but gonna give it a go on the bottom.
All 3 bubble trucks take the bottom. On the 2s, we get set for the second try at overtime.
Remember that fast number 62 truck back there? You see Mike Christopher Jr. in the 72 and Christopher Bell. He's got a fast ride. Will he be able to charge forward?
And remember stage 2, Chandler Smith starting inside his teammate of Lane Riggs right there. Chandler Smith flexed some muscle earlier in this race too, and I don't think we'll see teammates do the same thing we saw in the last start, but never know.
Never know. I think it's going to be wild. I just hope they keep them straight, but I'm wondering if they will. Tristan McKee there in that 3rd row, 77th. Great job again for that kid.
Here we come. Second overtime here in New Hampshire.
Overtime number 2 underway. Green flag back in the air. Lane Riggs again leads the field as we get up racing. Stuart Friesen to the bottom of 3 wide. Ankrum with a little contact trying to put a block on a truck behind him. And Lane Riggs, the leader, is pulling away a bit. Friesen did what he can to try to make the dive bomb on the inside. Didn't work out for him, but he didn't lose any spots either. He's still in 4th. Honeycutt trying to work around Chandler Smith for 2nd up towards the front of the field. Riggs needs his teammate to really race him hard. Although Chandler Smith got a good run off turn 4, pulls the 11, and does he have a shot maybe at the win on Lane Riggs? Final lap of the race. Tracking Garcia and Ankrum back there right now. Tyler Ankrum still a couple points to the good. Garcia getting passed by other trucks. Ankrum right in his rear view, in fact. No battle on the front of the lead. Chandler Smith looking for one last shot to try to get to Lane Riggs, but it's not going to happen. Checkered flag waving, and Lane Riggs is going to get the race win here at New Hampshire. 6th win of 2026. Multiple overtimes, nailed every restart, goes on to lead over 100 laps. Pretty good performance here today for Riggs. 106 laps led as we went past the scheduled distance, 2 hours, 18 minutes, and 56 seconds. 9 cautions, again, 2 overtime, 6 lead changes, 56 laps of yellow on the originally scheduled 175 lap race. And Tyler Ankrum does get the final chase spot on points, besting Friesen and Garcia late. And holding on to that 20-point advantage he came into the day with. A lot closer than he probably needed it to be, but held on nonetheless. Margin of victory, 0.2 of a second for Lane Riggs over Chandler Smith at the finish as well. A 1-2 finish for Front Row Motorsports again this season. Caden Honeycutt brings it home 3rd. A valiant effort by Stuart Friesen today with a 4th place finish. Connor Zillich won the first 2 stages, finishes 5th. Tristan McKee, the 16-year-old, ran in the top 5 a lot, finishes 6th. Great run for him. Christopher Bell at 7th after a spin. Daniel Hemrick finishes 8th. Justin Haley for Ram finishes 9th. And Parker Eatman rounds out the top 10 for Nice Motorsports. Ty Majeski 11th. Michael Christopher Jr. in 12th. Grant Enfinger 13th. Jake Garcia 14th. Corey LaJoie 15th. Tyler Ankrum 16th and gets that final chase spot. Cole Butcher 17th. Ben Roselock to chase spot up today at 18th. John Hunter Nemechek 19th and Brennan Queen 20th. Tanner Gray 21st. Connor Hall 22nd. Minnie Tyrell 23rd. Colin Braun 24th. Dawson Sutton 25th. Gio Ruggiero 26th. Andres Perez 27th. Christian Eckes 28th. Was the last truck to finish on the lead lap. Timmy Hill finished 2 laps down in 29th. The DNF for Connor Mosak in 30th. Luke Baldwin finishes 12 laps down in 31st. Same for Landon Lewis in 32nd. Gavin Bichelle had a huge hit late, sending us to the first overtime. He'll finish 33rd. Chris Wright on track, along with Patrick Emmerling, late 43 and 58 laps down in 34th and 35th. And Spencer Boyd DNF tonight finishes last in 36th. So our full finishing order for today's race. Lane Riggs, always exuberant when getting out of a truck after a race victory. Fun interview to listen to, and here it is on the front stretch at New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
Lane's not having tires left. But he doesn't need them anymore, though, does he, Regan?
They can change them out to get that one in the trailer at the end of the night.
Bare knuckle brawl, and he brawled. What a season it is for this team.
6 wins in his second career start here on this track. Gets his first win at New Hampshire. His third last year, and dejection for Garcia. Finishes 12th in the points standings, and just not quite enough. A 14th place finish here today, and he, obviously go back to being out of his pit box pretty late in the race.
Yeah, and that certainly started to set the tone, but did everything he needed to do to try and get back up there.
Lane Riggs in the 34 truck for front row. Season they've had between he and Chandler Smith. Lane Riggs, after the win, standing by with Josh Sims.
Well, guys, what an incredible season Lane Riggs has been able to put together. A series-leading 6th victory to cap things off. Led over 100 laps today, and he picks up his first win here at New Hampshire. And, of course, you lock up the regular season championship as well. What kind of a statement did you guys make, not just this season, but capping off the regular season this way today?
Statement win. I mean, this is awesome. Thank you to all the fans. I got a lot of people in the stands today, so thank you guys so much. Love coming up here. I'm ready for some lobster. I don't know if we're going to have any in Victory Lane because we're only truck guys. I think they need to have lobsters at the truck race too, not just the cup race. But no, thank you to everybody at Front Row Motorsports, Ford Racing. Got Bare Knuckle Boxing Brawl on the side again. Got them another win, a dominant victory. Well, I wouldn't say dominant. I thought I was off a little bit. I thought I was in trouble. Zilch got by me. Chandler got by me. I was just really, really tight. Couldn't get it where I needed it. But my crew chief, Phil Capello, engineer Jonathan Coates, they made some excellent adjustments there at the end. Thank you to my teammate Chandler for racing clean there at the end. I mean, 1-2, Front Row Motorsports is in the name. So super excited. I love this place. I love this type of racetrack. Let's bring on the chase. We only got 7 left. Just no mercy.
Lane Riggs, your winner here at New Hampshire to cap off the regular season.
Tyler, I talked to your crew chief right before that final reset. He said, my job is done. It is all on Tyler. You came over the radio after the race and said, I am not happy. In your career, how difficult was what you just pulled off?
Extremely. It's very rare you get to come to a place as fast as this and you have no rear brakes and we can't fix the problems. Just, we've had adversities like this throughout the year, and I thought we were done with them. It came back. Luckily, Eddie DeHunt, my spotter, he just gave an awesome advice, and he told me just to turn my left rear brake all the way off, run all the rounds of brake to the rear, and if it gets worse, run them all the way to the front. And it was able to solve half the problem. It was we're back there at 27. I was like, it's over. It's over. I didn't really think that that race would go that way for us. I don't know what the bubble was, but the last couple restarts for me, it was like in my head, it's like it's 1 point, it's 0 points, just like it was at Martinsville in the fall last year for the Final Four. So definitely did not want to come to New Hampshire and perform like that. Not for Chevrolet, not for Liuna. Lucky. Did not perform like we belong in the chase, so we got lucky.
You got out of the truck, you looked at me too and said, I am not happy, but you get to race for it in this 2026 chase. Does that help?
Yeah, we'll help in a couple hours. I can move on past this. And, we can talk and go to the shop and improve. Go race for a championship.
Great stuff. Interesting take on it, right?
With
Race car drivers never forget the bad moments that happen behind the wheel or the frustrating moments that happen from behind the wheel. And I don't think Ankram's going to forget this for at least another, maybe even longer than a couple of hours. Congratulations, Lane Riggs, 6th win of the season. We're going to get on out of here for the night. We'll be back again tomorrow for the NASCAR Cup race at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll have the start time for that one on our stream, and the race will go live just after 2 p.m. Eastern. Lane Riggs will be, again, the #1 seed for the Craftsman Truck Series race for the championship as well. Their chase, as he has his 6th win, clinched the regular season title after stage 1 today in this race. That's all I've got. Thanks for watching, everybody, for both streams today. Practice and qualifying, that was a late morning stream, and then obviously this truck race, and we'll be back at it tomorrow afternoon for the Cup event. Tyler Reddick will be on the pole for the Dollar Tree 301. See you soon. Have a good rest of your Saturday night, everyone.